liberal. I'm even on here before I got my damn monitor going. So, surely you guys have heard that President Trump wanted to dismantle the Department of Education. That is not new news. I believe he was talking about doing that as far back as his first term. The Republican Party has always been in favor of shrinking the size of government. Department of Education is government. They want to shrink it. In fact, I don't know what portion of the federal government right now that the Republican Party under Trump is not interested in shrinking, other than the military. And oddly enough, that's where most of the waste, fraud, and abuse is. If you're going to cut financial waste, fraud, and abuse to the point where you're trying to actually save the taxpayers' money, you're going to save more money making cuts in the Department of Defense than anywhere else. But oddly enough, that seems to be the only department that the Trump administration is avoiding. So we certainly can discuss that throughout the line, but I do want to talk about that. We're going to talk about Trump's effort to cut the Department of Education, because that just was, he just performed his signature about an hour and a half ago. Now, it's obvious, many would suggest it's obvious he can't do it on his own. It takes an act of Congress to wipe out the Department of Education. But I think we all would probably agree that Congress is less than eager to push back against anything that Trump wants to do. And the Congress right now is a Republican Congress. So if Trump wants something and Congress has the ability to stand in the way of it, you can't really depend on a Republican Congress to do that, even if they don't agree with it, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens with that. That's the Department of Education. And I want to ask you folks, do you believe that what Trump is doing is something we should do? Cut the Department of Education at the federal level and leave it up to the states. Whole lot of conversation to discuss on that. I got 4 topics here. We don't normally have that many, but in the era of Trump, news moves fast. It is just that quick. So in addition to the Department of Education, 2 topics that were kind of discussed yesterday, but I want to discuss them a little bit stronger. I'm shocked that I even got to ask this damn question. But nevertheless, it's coming from the Trump administration, so I'm going to ask you folks, because this is something I never thought would ever happen in America. Do you believe that America would be a more stable nation? Do you think it's better for its citizens if we go back to the era of segregation? Black water fountains, white water fountains, you separate folks when they're on public transportation, one person sitting at the back of the bus, one group sitting at the front of the bus, separate lunch counters in restaurants, things like that. A completely segregated America like it used to be. Do you believe that might implement favorable conditions, maybe calm things down, maybe be more helpful for society? I'm asking that. I didn't think I would ever have to ask no shit like this. But Trump has rolled back one of the provisions that Lyndon B. Johnson, remember Lyndon B. Johnson, the Civil Rights Act guy that said what I'm about to do is going to have Negroes voting for me for the next 200 years? Well, Trump is starting to undo some of that stuff. So the Negroes are going to be restless, likely. But segregation is one of them. Protecting Americans, against discrimination. Trump has rolled back a provision of the Lyndon B. Johnson protections that now allow contractors to segregate. You are now legally allowed to segregate. So that happened yesterday. We talked about it at the end of the show, but I certainly want to cover it today from a standpoint of, do you believe America would be better off? And I see in the comments, Jerry says, love it. So we got one viewer that certainly favors it. I want to see how many more viewers believe that we probably would be better off if America was segregated. And I would like to hear from some of you folks. Maybe you can elaborate on why you believe that, or maybe you disagree, and we'll talk about that. That's just the second topic. Now, the third topic unless you live under a news media rock, you've probably heard this. And the thing I'm questioning is why the right isn't covering this a little bit more, but I'll let you hear the clip. This is Steve Bannon yesterday. I'm sure many of you heard this.
Thanks for having me on News Nation, and I appreciate you.
So the only thing that you're not going to like talking about, we'll talk about first. I'm watching CPAC, and they put up a poll of potential, next generation, right? Post-Trump. You are second on the list after the VP as now, people.
I want to pause it right there. They got a poll. This is CPAC, so Conservative Political Action Committee. Right now, Steve Bannon behind J.D. Vance is polling as the second most desired candidate to be the next GOP nominee. So he's really favorite among the Republican Party. They got J.D. Vance 61%. The poll has J.D. Vance at 61% to be the next GOP presidential nominee. Now, the odd thing is Trump has already stated he doesn't see Vance as his successor, but the Conservative Political Action Committee is heavily favoring Vance at 61%. That's most of them now. But Steve Bannon is a very distant second at 12%. Now they got Steve Bannon over Ron DeSantis. Wow. Over Marco Rubio. And then they got Stefanik. Now, Don Jr., who many might think will be Trump's successor, if you leave it up to Trump, they haven't got him at 2%. Tulsi Gabbard is at 2%. That would be amazing. Tulsi Gabbard defected from the Liberal Party just a few years ago, and now she's a Republican nominee. Wow. Vivek Ramaswamy's way down at 2%. Huckabee Sanders, I guess that would be, would that be Mike Huckabee, or would that be his daughter? I think that's the daughter, right? Huckabee Sanders at 1%, and Rick Scott, former governor or governor of Florida, at 1%. But why they got Bannon over all of those highly respected Republican politicians? Wow. Anyway, I want you to hear the remainder. I'm just amazed that Steve Bannon is being picked by the Republican Political Action Committee over Ron DeSantis, who has a lot of credential. I mean, Ron DeSantis, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, certainly has an impressive resume to be the head of the Republican Party. I'm surprised that Bannon would get a higher choice than that. A lot of folks must be listening to the war room. Anyhow, we'll continue on.
Getting the nod at CPAC to be president. A lot of people were surprised by this. My first question, you have anything to do with putting your name in that list because you have presidential ambitions?
No. And President Trump, I'm a firm believer that President Trump will run and win again in 2028. So I've already endorsed President Trump. A man like this comes along once every century if we're lucky. We've got him now. He's on fire, and I'm a huge supporter. Want to see him again in 2028.
And obviously, anybody who doesn't like what you say but judges it as a function of a lack of intelligence doesn't know anything about you. I don't make that mistake. You're a smart guy. You know he's term limited. How do you think he gets another term?
We're working on it. I think we'll have a couple of alternatives. Let's say that.
Now that's Steve Bannon. Now he should be a member of the Trump administration the first time, suggesting that he is already in for Trump's third term and that the party is working on it. Now I want to ask you folks right off the bat, do you think there's any validity to this? Do you think, let me just ask it to you this way. Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being Steve Bannon is on to something. Scale of 1 to 10, how likely do you believe it will be that prominent members of the Republican Party will try to finagle a way to give Trump a third term? A scale of 1 to 10, how likely do you think that'll happen? Where they're going to try to, because remember the Republican Party tends to be pro-Constitution. They talk about the Constitution a hell of a lot more than the Democrats. Obviously, this is anti-Constitution. How likely do you believe it will be that the Republican Party will try to finagle the laws in some way or another to give Trump a third term? Wow, I'm really surprised at how many tens I'm seeing. A few zeros. I see Sean says fascism. And I see a lot of folks went way above 10. So most of you folks, at least this audience I got here, most of you folks do believe he will attempt to run a third time. Now, for you folks that are at the zero level, my guess is most of the folks that are saying zero are conservatives. And it would lead me to ask the obvious question. Why the hell is there not more outrage coming from conservatives when a well-known, highly respected conservative is saying something that is so much against the Constitution? Where are the conservatives talking about this? If a liberal was talking about passing a law that allowed biological males to play sports against girls, the right would be all over that. Why are they not saying anything about this? This is clearly against the Constitution, and he's not just some dude out of the woods. I mean, he used to be part of the Trump administration. He's literally the second most desirable candidate for the GOP, according to CPAC. Why is the right so quiet on this? I've been watching Fox all day. I didn't hear a damn thing about this. Why are they not saying something when such a well-known, highly respected conservative made such a controversial statement? So we'll talk about that as well. In addition, last topic, this one here, I know you've heard about this one, and if you haven't, you're likely to hear about it again in the future, because this one is literally happening all over America, it seems like. Damn.
News that we are following for you this hour, and this has to do with these Tesla attacks that we have been seeing in recent weeks. We now are learning that Attorney General Pam Bondi has announced charges against 3 people in domestic terrorism attacks on Teslas. 3 people accused of destroying Tesla cars and charging stations are now facing up to 20 years in prison for domestic terrorism. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi announced just moments ago. She said in a statement as well, the days of committing crimes without consequence have ended. Let this be a warning. If you join this wave of domestic terrorism against Tesla properties, the Department of Justice will put you behind bars. And
now they're talking up to 20 years in prison. How do you believe that if you set a car on fire? I mean, that's what it is. I get it. The message is to be delivered to Elon Musk, but if you set a car on fire, 20 years? Do you believe that setting a car on fire, you're going to burn a Tesla, you should be charged with domestic terrorism? You're right up there with ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Setting a car on fire. Domestic terrorism. Damn. So we'll talk about all of these topics as always. Shutting down the Department of Education, Trump's third term. Is America better off segregated because of Trump rolling back one of Lyndon B. Johnson's policies, allowing companies to now segregate? And last but not least, setting Teslas on fire being deemed as a act of domestic terrorism. Wow. So as you guys know how the program is run, we don't block, ban, or censor. We are MAGA friendly, been MAGA friendly since day one. We always will remain MAGA friendly. If you don't like any opinion on this program, feel free to state that, up to and including you can be critical of the host, anybody else. That's how free speech works. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having a dinner with Q. So looking at the comments right off, January 6th people should have been given 20 years. Well, a couple of them were given around that time. The leader of the Proud Boys and the leader of the Oath Keepers, one got 22 years and one got 18. So they were given significant time like that. But thanks to Donald J. Trump, they're walking around free. Tamar Bowles, what about a burning cross? Are you suggesting that the folks who historically burned crosses should have been charged as domestic terrorists? If so, I'm with you on that one. I don't know how that particular group of people was never charged as terrorists when they terrorized far more people than anything coming out of the Middle East. I have no clue how that didn't happen. Anyway, looking in the comments though, I don't normally like to block folks, but newbie low-key, if you want to add something to the program, feel free to do so, but just simply typing the N-word over and over and over again. Look, I'm all about free speech. If you want to be racist, find a synonym. You can say whatever the hell you want in the program, but I don't want the apps to take you down. So, and that individual Noki Nubi or whatever the hell. It's just typing the N-word over and over again. I get it. Some people are still racist in 2025, which is why we're talking also about, do you believe America as a segregated country would be better off? Anyhow, looking in the comments, wow, I may have to put on my spectacles. I'll go straight to the box and we'll bring straight up Dencal. Good evening, Dencal. Welcome to the program. So what do you think? A segregated America. We'll start off there because apparently Trump is talking about this. So over the left Bernie stuff, well, how you gonna second that, Dencal? Stevie D says, so over the left burning stuff down when they protest again. Yeah, that's the left's method of operation. We burn shit down. Dencal, good evening.
Good evening.
What is it with the left and setting fires, man? What are we, arsonists?
Yeah, I mean, look. At least we have learned from our other mistakes. Like we don't burn our own homes no more. We burn that shit now.
So we upgraded, huh?
hey, if they can own the January 6ers, then I guess I can
Yeah.
I can join whoever I want.
Yeah, fair enough. And by the way, I don't see setting fires to cars any worse than what happened on January 6th when they're literally talking about they wanted to kill somebody. So what do you think? America's segregated, though. Trump rolling back provisions that Lyndon B. Johnson put forward. So now at least contractors, which could easily spread to business owners and all of that, but allowing them to have segregated facilities. What's your opinion on that?
I mean, we kind of like this stuff is kind of revealing what we've already known for a long time. We've been saying it. People say, oh no, you guys are fear mongering. You guys are, you're just making stuff up. Just the same way they said they didn't want to, serve a gay couple a cake and, yes, there are plenty of people out there that are cool with segregation.
Yeah. I thought, if I'm correct, the phrase is, I've done more for black people than any president since Abraham Lincoln. So is this something that may be good for black people?
It may be. It
Really?
Maybe.
Elaborate.
Maybe that's the only way we can coexist is if we just have separate shit. I don't know, man. I thought the American experiment was working. It's a little slow for me. I would have liked it to become, more diversified, quicker, and us get over some of the things. But if we can't address those issues, we can never get over them. So if they, if that's the solution, we'll just go over here and but they better make sure they give us some nice plots of land though.
Yeah, but yeah, I was just about to say that's the problem is when you got finite resources. I mean, like if you live in a town and you want oceanfront property, once one group of people get that because there's segregation, it ain't like somebody else can purchase property in that neighborhood. You're off limits in this neighborhood because of who you are. So, it may be an issue where one group gets all of the choice spots in town.
True, but also, if they're talking about doing something like that, they got to understand that for one, we're going to have the financial capital of the world, which is going to be New York. We're going to have also the number one economy in America. Which
how does that work? What do you mean we're going to have it? What do you mean?
I mean, some people are in the chat saying, well, yeah, we need to divide it between conservatives and liberals.
Oh, no, that ain't what he's not talking about that. He means like, even if you're in a liberal area and you just happen to not say you don't want whites in your restaurant, you can say whites are not allowed to eat here. I mean, so it's going to be in liberal and conservative areas.
Oh, well, no, I was thinking more of on a larger scale.
Oh, you mean a whole damn city off limits?
States, cities. I mean,
that's it. That's a civil war at that point.
You can't have us. You can't. Obviously, we could never go back to the days of, there's a drinking fountain for you or me.
That's what we're talking about, Cal. Segregated facilities is now legal, at least for contractors. That's what we're talking about.
Right, but it's gonna be so much of a problem because people gonna be getting their shit smashed. Like you're not gonna be able to tell people, some of the people that I know, oh, you can't come in here because you're just not gonna have a business no more.
Damn.
So that's got to be, yeah, it's not gonna work on like, you know, a shop owner could just tell, you know, put a sign up and that's gonna be the end of it. Like, no, people are not, you know.
So what do you, so if a shop owner that's, let's say you know a little mom and pop restaurant puts a sign in their window that says whites only, what are you suggesting is going to happen?
They're not gonna have a business no more.
You mean like the inspector's going to close it down?
Use your imagination.
I'm trying to. I just want to figure it out. I mean, why would they not have? If it's legal, why would they not have a business anymore?
There's many things. Look, we're living in a society right now where the things we think are illegal, the president is now telling us they're not illegal.
What do you say? Somebody's going to crash a Tesla through their business?
It might. Look, he's having a problem operating his dealerships because of the stuff he's doing. So you could just
That sounds like some a mob boss who hasn't been paid would say. You having a little problems with your dealerships, apparently.
you cannot do people any kind of way. Once people have experienced a certain amount of freedom,
Yeah.
and you start trying to take it away from them, it's not gonna look. We not our ancestors. You're not just gonna be able to do that to us, and we just walk away. You know, turn the other cheek. It's not gonna happen like that.
Yeah.
So, like, that's, you know, unfortunately, that's kind of like where we're headed. I mean, we're in this gray area with the courts. Like, they haven't totally capitulated, but they on their last leg right now.
Yeah.
When you know, he's pretty much told those courts, like, I'm just not giving you the information. I think that's where you know, but the Supreme Court is going to have to weigh in, and I don't understand, you know, why they slow rolling this. And they see John Roberts came out and spoke and said, no, the president's wrong. This is how the courts work. They've always worked like that. Now that he sees that they're still not cooperating, he should immediately say, we're taking up this case. We're relieving the lower courts. We're going to work.
Can they now? I'm not as legally savvy on it. Can they just snatch a case from the lower courts on their own?
Well, it would be appealed. It would be appealed. Like the White House is saying, we don't believe that they have the authority. If the judge rules, then the White House would have to appeal it to a higher level.
Okay, so they have to wait till it comes to them. Then they can't just snatch it out of the lower court's hands.
Well, I mean, we've seen them respond to certain that one case when the judge told them that they had to respond to them within 24 hours, and then the Supreme Court jumped in and was like, "Yeah, we got this. It's happened already." And
I think the problem is Trump is in his crew are smart enough to realize that a lot of our system was designed, at least for their level, on the honor system. So it's like, okay, if the courts tell you to do something, they never expected a president to say, fuck you, I'm not going to do it anyway. They never expect, because that's what he controls the Department of Justice. So it's like, if I defy a judge, that judge has to go through my Department of Justice to get at me. And my Department of Justice got my back.
Right, but they're still currently showing up in court.
Yeah.
So that's why I said we're not like we right there on the edge of a real constitutional crisis. Unless you follow the justice system, like, yeah, he's saying screw you, but he's still standing there in front of them saying screw you.
That could just be to delay the process. But I'm saying, no, do you feel like this judge right now who wants them to show the planes they sent down to El Salvador? They came out and finally admitted something I argue back and forth with MAGA on constantly, that a lot of these motherfuckers was innocent. They were sending down there. They don't came out and admit it. That a lot of these guys didn't have any criminal record at all. They sent them down there based on tattoos. You sent motherfuckers to maximum security prison in a foreign third world country for a fucking tattoo. I mean, I can't believe this.
Even admitted, they know the name of the prison and everything. Talking about these people got what they deserve. They went to the worst place on the planet, and we're paying them to do this
For a tattoo. So So the judge is trying to undo something. Well, you're not going to get those people back. They're gone because El Salvador is in.
Look, all the judge was saying is pause it for 30 days until they go through the process of figuring out if this 1700s law is applicable. That's all.
Right.
He never disagreed with them. He didn't say. What he said was bring them back because the people who filed the claim are claiming that these people will be irreparably harmed. So yes, they were saying those people, they're not going to let them back out into society. He was just saying bring them back to the country until we figure this whole thing out because we don't want to send people into this situation where they'll be irreparably harmed. That's all he was saying.
But the point is, does Trump have to actually follow anything that judge rules? If that judge, because right now the judges are already demanding stuff from the Trump administration. I think they didn't show up to one of them, and they've been slow walking. I mean, if they call that judge's bluff, what can he really do? The people are gone, so it ain't like you can go and get back people who were wrongfully sent away. They are gone. So
right, and that's why I said we're on the edge because what they said was now they've changed their whole tune. They said now you don't have the authority to tell the president what to do during a national security emergency. See, they changed the whole, the wording. Now instead of it being immigration law. Now they said it was a national security emergency that he had declared that all of these people were invading our country. Now he's literally turning. Yeah.
What he is attempting to do is transform them from illegal immigrants to foreign soldiers invading our country. That way he gets a lot more power because now obviously if foreign soldiers come over here trying to kill people, it's different. And that's what he's trying to use as like wartime tactics.
Right, and he's going to continue to change the logic as he sees whether it can sustain legal merit. Yeah. Now that he's seen that first thing he said, it didn't work. Now he's saying something else. So now this will get taken to the next level, and I imagine it should bypass any other appellate courts, but I don't know. The Supreme Court, the way they slow walk stuff, they might say,
well, but
hold off.
The good thing is it may stop the rotation of aircraft going down. And like I tell folks all the time, I'm okay with getting rid of rapists and murderers. But when you won't even tell us who the people are you're sending out, and now it's come out that a lot of these people have no criminal history at all, you're going way beyond rapists and murderers. Now you're all the way down to tattoos. I mean, so I'm fine, because this is what the right is trying to say. The right is trying to say that any dissent means you want rapists and murderers in the country. They don't even want you asking questions. And it's like, no, you're sending people out and you're not telling us who they are.
Right, and he's trying to use this reverse psychology. The moment you say, well, hold on, then, like you said, now you defending rapists and murderers, when the only thing we're saying is you sent 100 people over there.
Yeah, they're using that with the federal fight.
Maybe 10 of them people are not guilty of what you're saying. We're in defense of the 10 people.
Yeah, if they had, they flew like 200 and some people down. If 200 people, let's say if 70 of them, 1/3 of them were actual rapists and murderers, they would have a whole screen full of victims telling you who they don't victimize. They would let you know that because it would make Trump's case really strong. The fact that they ain't showing, they still on Lincoln Riley. Like Lincoln Riley's killer ain't even on the plane. They still talking about Lincoln Riley. So clearly.
And didn't that guy get justice?
Yeah.
Get what he had coming to him?
Yeah, they got him. Yeah, he paid his just due. But yeah, the fact that they're not telling you the awful crimes these people committed shows their only crime probably is being in the country illegally. All this rapists and murder stuff is just fabricated, all the way down to tattoos. I mean, because that's what some people were saying when they were in the gang. Like, just simply, I mean, what happened to rape and murder? You're coming up with all this lore. Well, he was in the gang. Well, he entered the country illegally. Well, he had some tattoos. You said rapists and murderers. What happened to that?
Now that gang has now become public enemy number one.
Yeah.
When we got gangs all over this damn country. But that gang, you know what I'm saying? That particular gang, we got got a war against them.
Well, but that's the problem. If they can do it to them, next thing you know, they will be going at the Crips and Bloods like that. You got a Crip tattoo or a Blood tattoo or something like that, and boom, they're giving you these draconian sentences because you let them get away with it on foreigners. Eventually, if you let them get away with it on people that are not citizens, they'll probably be able to convert it to citizens to some degree. Because a lot of Americans look at these folks like they're here illegally. I don't give a damn what happens to them. They should have thought about that before coming here. So folks will start saying the same thing about gangbangers. They should have thought about that before they put a tattoo on their body. I mean, they just won't care.
Imagine what it would be like to see them come scoop up Snoop Dogg. Sorry, that's what they saying about these people, right?
Yeah.
They say you was a part of it. No matter if you did something wrong or not, you was a part of them, so we got to get you out of here.
And it absolutely can happen. I mean, like I said, there's only so much you can ignore before it come back on you. I mean, if you keep ignoring it, it won't be long before. I mean, because they're actually sending people away without due process. If you're going to ignore that to somebody that's not from the country, won't be long before they convince people that you don't need due process either.
Right, and that's what I see. Johnny is saying. They were all illegal. Why is it so hard for you to understand? Because they are not all illegal. Some of them had come and requested asylum and were during the asylum process. They may have been sent back, but they were not here illegally. Yeah. Every one of those people on that damn plane was not here illegally.
And I'll tell you something too. Even for folks who came here illegally, you don't deserve to be sent to a maximum security prison with actual killers for that. I mean, that punishment is way above the crime. I mean, the punishments to fit the crime. You're going to send somebody to a maximum security prison for years because they came in the country illegally. That just, I mean, to me, I'm okay with getting them out, certainly if they commit major felonies, but this sounds like a case they just making up shit to punish people as hard as they can. I gotta move it on then. Can I give you the last word? Go ahead.
Yeah, to the same people who sent criminals to American prisons, and they said that they was too harsh for the people who was beating police, literally.
Right. I would dare say that those folks who went in the Capitol building, many of them committed more violent crimes than probably some of those dudes on that plane. Probably a lot of them on the plane committed less violent crimes than they did on January 6th. But then, Cal, you know what I got to do? Appreciate it.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. All right, moving on with the program. Just because Democrats make speculations doesn't make a YouTube video. Gold Stream, that's 100% true. Just because Democrats make speculations doesn't make it a YouTube video. Accurate. Just because a Republican president makes speculations don't make that shit true either. That's why we're talking about due process. Just because the president jumps up and screams that somebody is a rapist and murderer don't make it true. And the fact that he's not trying to let people know, let people have due process is suspect to me. I mean, if they're that bad, let them have their day in court. The point I'm trying to make is this. If an immigrant is accused of being a rapist or a murderer, and he is screaming up and down that I didn't rape or murder anybody, should he at least be investigated as to whether what he's saying is true or not? Should we just take the word of somebody that's making the accusation? Because that's what's happening now. That is exactly what's happening now. Continuing on with the program, I don't know what I just hit there, but we'll go to Gen X. Good evening, Gen X. Welcome to the program. Yeah, I had to agree with PMC. It sounds like CNN tonight. Diddy's World, yeah. I mean, the only way I'm going to sound like Fox News is to simply suggest that everybody that Trump is arresting, everything that Trump says is true. If I criticize anything that Trump says or even challenge it, I'm not even criticizing because I agree with sending rapists and murderers out of the damn country. I agree with cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. I don't agree with the president being so high you can't question what's going on. If you question it, you sound like CNN. Gen X, good evening.
What's going on, Mr. Tim?
You know what I always say, hanging around like Mike Pence on January 6th. So you hear the point I'm making. I'm going to assume you think I'm getting something wrong here?
Yeah, I don't. Tim, I have
haven't agreed with a lot you said for a while, man. You went off the total deep end, my brother.
Give me an example. Elaborate.
You know I like you.
Same. But tell me what I'm getting wrong. I want to take the criticism. Do you believe that?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let me throw this at you. So Biden can import immigrants without due process, but when Trump wants to deport them without due process, it's a problem. Where was the outrage when he was bringing them in?
There was outrage, but what you're basically saying is,
No, there wasn't. No,
yeah,
there wasn't.
the right. I was one of the ones bitching about it on my program. The right was all over that. The right, even I was constantly saying, there's no way people should be coming in this country without being vetted. I can bring up probably a dozen shows where I said that. I was all over that. I don't believe you should be the
You guys look for the littlest bullshit. You say, well, the judge said bring them back. Does the judge know how much gas was on the plane? Could they have safely turned around? The weather conditions, whatever, bruh. He kicked bad people out of the country.
That's the point I'm making.
Motherfuckers.
But Gen X, that's the point I'm making. How do you know they're bad people if you won't give them due process? Is there anything wrong with actually proving that they're bad people before you send them out?
Did you see the videos? The liberal videos?
Yeah, they're tattoos.
They have tattoos on their heads. MS-13, Trims de Agua. Guess what? They were fucking bad people.
Now you understand, I know the personal connection to this, but I'm just going to say this. You understand a lot of Americans think Proud Boys are bad people. If somebody have a Proud Boy tattoo, do you think they should be, arrested or punished in any way, shape, or form? A lot of Americans don't like the Proud Boys. What say you?
A lot of leftists don't like the Proud Boys. On the right.
You're right about that. Okay, but you're right about that. But let's say it's a left-wing administration. You're okay with them punishing people with Proud Boy markings simply because they think they're bad?
No, absolutely not, because they're wrong. And there's a big difference between right and wrong.
So you believe that if somebody go out and get a MS-13 tattoo, that alone should be enough to punish them?
Yeah, you get an MS-13 tattoo, motherfucker, pack your shit, you're on a plane to fucking El Salvador.
What if an American get one?
Bye.
If an American, born and raised in America, gets an MS-13 tattoo, where the hell are you going to send them?
Motherfucker, you better have fucking a good track record.
Oh, so you're now suggesting that tattoos is a major felony then?
That's not what I said. That's what you said.
You just said bye. That's what you do. I mean, where you I just got a tattoo and I got to leave my homeland? That sounds like a major felony to me.
MS-13 or a terrorist organization, I don't give a fuck if you're American-born, El Salvador-born, Venezuelan-born. If you're victimizing American people, you got to go. But
Gen X, the tattoo alone does not mean you're victimizing people. That tattoo don't mean that.
Why else would you get that?
Why else would you walk down the street with a swastika, Gen X? People do that. They victimize They victimize a hell of a lot more people than MS-13.
There you go. Moving the goalposts.
That's it. No, we're on the same field. You're saying that
talking about swastikas.
No, we're talking about bad markings and suggesting that a group is a terrorist outfit according to their markings. So if you're going to say that MS-13 folks who have that tattoo are part of a bad group, then folks waving around a swastika, are they known for charity?
No, they're bad groups.
Right. So what are you going to do to them?
They're bad groups. I'll give you that.
So what are you going to do to them?
Pack them up, send them to El Salvador.
Okay, I don't believe you now. I think you'd be okay with the MS-13 people, but somehow I think them swastika folks, you would not be okay with sending them out the country. But a tattoo, huh? So let me ask you the other topic of the show. Do you believe America would be better off as a segregated country now that Trump has rolled back one of the...
Yes, 100%.
Explain, elaborate.
100%.
Elaborate.
I do not believe in racial segregation. Tim, I've known you for a long time.
Yes, sir, you have.
We don't go way back like Cadillac seats. We go back like Lincoln seats.
Okay, I can deal with that. I like that. I like that.
To where I would break bread with you and invite you into my home.
But I can't come in your neighborhood now, though. But I can't come in your neighborhood no more.
No, you could come into my neighborhood and I would protect you like my brother.
Okay.
Here's my point. I don't give a fuck about somebody's skin color. But political ideology, now do I think we should separate based on political ideology? Absolutely. Because liberals have went so far fucking bonkers, I don't know what to think anymore.
What's your definition?
Here's my thing on Elon. Here's Tesla. Who buys Teslas? It ain't my friends. My friends buy F-150.
It ain't my friends no more either. My friends are using them motherfuckers.
All the liberals, hear me out. All the liberals bought Teslas and this and that. As far as I'm concerned, we need to back out. This ain't our fucking fight. Let these motherfuckers figure it out amongst themselves.
Yeah. Well, my friends ain't buying them no more either. Last I checked, they using them as matches. So they ain't buying them no more either. So and that's why their stock is down like 40%. Apparently ain't hardly anybody buying Teslas anymore except for Trump.
I think a political ideology, segregation, absolutely.
So what do you mean, like an all Republican neighborhood and an all Democrat neighborhood?
All Republican country. Hey, you guys can have the East Coast. We'll take the Midwest. You guys can have the West Coast and call it good.
So you guys are just
on a fair basis, and that's it.
So you guys are just in the middle of the country. We got both coasts. We got all the coastland, all the oceanfront property, all of that. You in what? Middle of Kansas?
Oh, we got the South. We got the Texas. We got the Gulf of America.
Yeah.
We're good.
Gulf of America. Kiss my ass with that Gulf of America shit. So but what happened to opening people's eyes up and maybe showing them the benefit of, we had the walk away movement, a lot of Democrats, black MAGA developed out of that. If you separate the cultures or separate the ideology, you can't wake people up. There's been a lot of liberals that switched over under Trump. You would lose that.
Exactly. And every time we conservatives open our eyes, you liberals poke us in it. At some point, we got to keep our eyes closed. It's like, fuck, man, okay, you win. You have your shit, we'll have our shit.
I believe you. I believe you when you say keep y'all eyes closed. Y'all ain't woke at all. Y'all on NyQuil over there. Y'all ain't woke at all. Y'all sleep. So the LGBTQ community, would they be welcome in your area?
No.
Why not?
Because it's unnatural. It's not. I don't want fucking people in my area that are gonna fucking victimize themselves, let alone each other.
How is that? If you're gay, how are you victimizing yourself?
Because you're not living a natural life.
So
your brain doesn't work right.
So because you prefer or you're attracted to the same sex, you believe that means your brain doesn't work right, and I guess you're saying you have a mental illness or something.
Yeah, you're mentally ill. Absolutely.
Now I asked you this before, and I'm going to ask you again because it pertains to this conversation. What if you believe your skin color makes you supreme over other people? Is that a mental illness?
Nope. Oh yeah. If you believe your skin color, yeah.
Yeah, if you're a white supremacist, are white supremacists mentally ill?
I answered too quickly. Yes, absolutely.
You gonna kick them out of your neighborhood?
What's that?
You gonna kick them out of your neighborhood too?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Well, they sure ain't gonna come in ours. I don't know where they gonna go.
I don't believe in white supremacy because you know what a supremacy should be? A human supremacy.
All right.
Not white supremacy. It doesn't matter if my skin's white. None of us are white. Have you seen the color white?
No. Yeah. The guy colored himself orange so you wouldn't see it though.
None of us are white.
We're
brown, we're beige, we're darker brown. I've never even seen. I've seen one or two black people. Very, very few.
Yeah, that's
Zimbabweans.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. So we getting somewhere. One of the other questions. Getting rid. Steve Bannon. Did you hear what Steve Bannon said?
About Trump being reelected?
Yes. What the fuck is that?
Tim, I'm kind of mixed on that. I like Trump. I love Trump. But if I'm 100% honest, which you know me, I will be, that motherfucker will be like 150 years. You can't.
But think about how this conversation started out. You disagree with me on a lot of shit. I don't say it lately because I don't went off the deep end. This motherfucker used to be part of the Trump administration. He's talking about breaking the Constitution to get his guy a third term. Are you sure only the left are going off on the deep end? That is way more deep end type material than letting biological boys play with girls. He's talking about subverting the Constitution.
No, it's not. No,
really?
Don't put words in my mouth.
A third term?
Doing the biological tranny thing is way sicker than
Hold on.
trying to elect somebody a third time.
Gen X. If a biological boy plays with girls, that's affecting probably less than 0.01% of Americans. Nobody's really dealing with that. What Steve Bannon is talking about is controlling the entire country. That would affect the entire country. It's way more encompassing than anything in the LGBTQ community. That is something that's on the fringe. I don't know anybody that has a child that is at risk of playing against biological boys. In fact, I don't even know nobody who has a transgender person that's really hanging around him at all. If he's talking about giving Trump a third term, that's going to affect the whole country.
I think if Trump is mentally stable, yes, absolutely.
What about the Constitution?
Well, you guys want to change it all the time, so why can't we do it?
You guys are the ones that's always defending it. What, you changing your tune now and it works in your favor? This is why I keep saying when folks are suggesting that he's going to do something like this or do something over here, you guys go, that's fear-mongering. If you're okay with him doing that, then none of the other shit is fear-mongering. I mean, if you're not totally against him breaking the Constitution for a whole nother term. So if we start talking about national abortion bans, that stuff is actually lower down on the totem pole than him getting the third term. So I don't see how you could accuse the left of fear-mongering at all when even you are somewhat okay with him getting the third term.
Okay, now let's be fair about this. When we first started this conversation, I said I'm on the fence on that, which I am. I'm on the fence on that, but the more they talk about it, the more it makes a little bit more sense to me, because what's the alternative? To me, this is how my mind thinks.
J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance.
Hands of Nancy Pelosi?
No, J.D.
Gavin Newsom?
No, the alternative.
Trump keep it.
The alternative is the system. If the left have went too far off the deep end, then J.D. Vance or Steve Bannon or somebody could follow Trump. They don't, just because Trump doesn't get a third term don't mean the liberals going to follow him up. You don't throw the system away because you want this one guy. You can get J.D. Vance or Ron DeSantis or one of them.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Kevin.
But when you start talking about you're kind of okay with that, I don't want to hear you accusing liberals of going off the deep end anymore. Because what you're talking about is deep end material. It's just over to the right.
That I don't agree with. But
You don't agree with giving the president a third term is going too far.
Because he's doing a good job.
Oh my God.
He's doing a good job. Trump is doing exactly what I voted for. Exactly. As much bitching as that's going on, he's doing a good job.
Did you not vote for him to protect the Constitution?
And he's doing exactly.
But you're okay with him breaking it in his favor.
He's not doing that.
But you're okay with him doing it.
No, I never said
You
that.
just said it now. You just said it right now. Hey, let me ask you, why do you suggest he's doing a good job? How much is the price of eggs in your area?
A lot lower than they were.
What is
Eggs are under $5 for a half a dozen. They were over $7. Gas is down. Inflation's down.
Are you serious?
It came down. Yeah,
I haven't. Oh my God, who put that in the comments? Somebody said Gen X die already. You got an enemy. Oh my God.
I'm trying, man, but they won't let me fucking go, dude.
All right, Gen X, you drive a hard bargain today. You know you always welcome on the program. We don't have to agree on shit. We still go back together, man. Appreciate you coming through.
Hey, Tim, I want to say one thing. What I said about the predator thing with Mrs. Mobetta with the braids. That wasn't it.
Oh yeah, you did. Oh my God.
That wasn't an attack on her. I want to make this very
How
clear.
could you say a woman looks like them? Wait.
Let me finish. That was a joke. That was a joke.
What? How could you say a grown-ass woman looks like the Predator from the Schwarzenegger movies and say that was not an attack? That's a straight-up insult.
But her braids is why I said that. It was a joke, man. My man, and this isn't even to you. This is to her. Woman, I was not attacking you. I think you're a beautiful woman, and that it was nothing like that.
Oh my God, you look like the Predator, and that's not an attack on you. You really?
So fuck you.
All right, Gen X. Appreciate you coming through. You need to send me a motherfucking galaxy for that bullshit. I gotta go. Appreciate it. All right, going on with the program. That was the one and only Gen X. Always welcome on the program. He's been a viewer for a while. Looking in the comments, real quick, I gotta probably put on my spectacles. For some reason, YouTube's the wording is so damn small. Why would illegal immigrants put their own children at risk? Because their own children are at risk where they're coming from. I mean, listen, if you're in a burning building and you know you can't get out or you're too heavy to jump, you might throw your kid over the side just to save the kid. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're in a country where there is no hope, no opportunity, you may send your kid to go live with his aunt or even foster parents. I know I can't make it up out of here, but at least I can put a better life up for my kid. I mean, you may just see your kid out. It may be just that bad. Most of us don't know what it's like to go through that. Some of us have had ancestors. If you're Irish or, you're Asian or something, you may have had ancestors that went through it, but most of us, we were all born here. We don't know what it's like to be in a situation that is that desperate. My guess is if we did know, we would probably have a lot more empathy. Looking in the comments, Bandito, appreciate the super chat, says, what about when ICE has picked up Native Americans? Damn. Where do they get reported? Homeland had to release them, a big lawsuit. Under Trump, them lawsuits ain't gonna go nowhere. I think for the most part, Tom Homan, Trump's border czar, has a complete security blanket. The Homeland Security can fuck up all they want to. As long as they're not committing state crimes, anything that's within Trump's range, he gonna just pardon them. He's in favor of deporting people without due process. So if he's okay with it, they should feel emboldened. I mean, he got their back. So the lawsuit that's coming from the Native Americans, if Trump can interfere with it, it ain't going nowhere. I don't know enough about exactly. I do know a lot of people have been held up in the system. Canadians going back and forth have been caught and held up. But a lot of that stuff is going to be dealt with in the federal court. And if Trump can get involved in any way, shape, or form, it ain't going to go good. This country is going down, says Bandito. I was reading some article earlier today, the happiness index. Once again, Finland, the Swedish country, those countries over, Finland, Sweden, those countries, Nordic countries, rank the best in terms of happiness index and all of that bullshit. America, they said, is lower than it's ever been before. So the happiness index in America has declined significantly. I think you can probably estimate where that's coming from. Trump is doing a crappy job, says Bandito. Well, Gen X says he's doing such a good job, he should get a third term. One thing that we all can agree on is free speech aspect of this channel and should be grateful for it. I like that, William. We are all about free speech. Understand that. We are all about free speech. Probably the only time I block somebody is like I had to do today, and that was the first time I blocked somebody, I think this year. This year I had to put somebody on timeout. He was just saying the N-word over and over again. N-word, N-word, N-word. No, listen, if you want to add something such as that Negro don't know shit, he don't know what the hell he's talking about, I'll not only leave that out there, I may entertain it and ask you to elaborate on it. Maybe you know something and I need to concede a point to you. But just typing the N-word over and over again with nothing, I just want to be racist. I don't really want to say anything but racist shit. I had to take that person down. So it is what it is. And by the way, if you, ninja, Negro, whatever, you them in there. I don't care about the free speech part, but the apps do. The social media platform does. So you can take the whole damn, put the whole page at risk by just typing, the N-word over and over again. So I had to take the person out. Looking in the comments, Trump's strongly man act is untested bad drama. I don't understand that. Let me go back to the box. Tap the screen. I haven't solicited that. I got about 17. Get us up to about 30,000. We can certainly make that happen if you let your thumbs not be lazy. Tap the screen. Get the likes on up. Happiness we don't have since Trump. MAGA is exceptionally happy. MAGA is very happy that Trump won. But the happiness index, I think in America, because we're a capitalist country, everybody in this country base happiness on how much money you got. But how's your family life? How's your health? All of these things, how's your safety, for instance? Do you worry about your kids going to school and never coming back? All of that's part of that. But in America, we look at it like we're making money, so therefore we're happy. That's why in America, you could be dying of cancer on your sixth wife, estranged from your kids, ain't seen them in years, but if you got a big bank account, we call you successful. That's all we judge it on is how much money you got. Rest of that shit don't matter. He's successful. His life is fucked up. His life is fucked up. What do you mean successful? Well, you got money in the bank. Let me go back to the box, and I'll go straight to Jeremy. Good evening, one of my subscribers. We get a subscriber's first digs. Jeremy, good evening. Welcome to the program. Now, you type something in the comments over and over again. You got to add more than that. You were saying you don't know what you're talking about or something like that. Add a little bit more into it. That doesn't say anything. I get a million people saying that.
Okay, so again, let's go to the immigration issue, which you were heavily misunderstanding. Now, I have looked it up myself. I got conflicting messages from other people who are in MAGA. Some said that the Supreme Court actually said that illegal immigrants don't have rights, and that's what SCOTUS said. But I looked it up for myself. They said, and what Google says, and what a lot of trustworthy resources say, is apparently they don't have all the same rights. They just have some. Okay. Now, apparently, due process is one of them. So that's one area where I disagree with Trump. However, what you don't understand is that, first off, when it comes to these people we're deporting that are part of MS-13, they are absolutely exactly what people have been saying about them. One of the requirements to join MS-13, you have to kill a family member.
Wow. Let me interrupt. I'll let you continue as usual. Here's the point. Here's the problem I have with that. When Trump was appointing Pete Hegseth as a Secretary of Defense or whatever, there was this big argument that he shouldn't get the job because he had white supremacist tattoos. Hold on, I'll let you correct it. Hold on, I'll let you correct it. But I had a show on it where I put his tattoos on the screen, and on my research, I came to the conclusion that those tattoos were military and they had nothing to do with white supremacy. However, because folks believed his tattoos were white supremacist tattoos, under what Trump is doing to the immigrants, that would have been all they needed to disqualify him. He would have gotten no due process, no chance to argue his case, and would have been gone. You mentioned MS-13 tattoos mean you had to commit some very violent crime. What if the person is saying this is not an MS-13 tattoo? He doesn't get due process to prove that.
And that's why one of the things that I don't agree with Trump on is that he should be allowed for the courts to do what they do, right. Which the Supreme Court's SCOTUS has repeatedly upheld, which is, again, that's something I wish he would do. However, again, if they are MS-13, if it's proven and that they do it.
We're not arguing that.
Last time I was on your show, I mentioned a prison for lower level inmates. I want you to actually look it up. It's actually, I can give you the name right now.
Are we sending any of them immigrants going to a lower level prison over there? Because they seem to be saying they're going to maximum security.
Yeah, we are.
I haven't heard anybody say that they're sending them to all of the videos you see on TV, as you pointed out, and people have seen their relatives going to this prison. I haven't heard anybody say we're sending them to lower level, lower security prisons. They're sending them to max. But what are you telling me to look up?
Okay, look up Nick Shirley. Okay, he did a documentary on this on YouTube where he can show you video evidence of it all. Okay?
Just one dude.
Yeah, but there's other people who did the exact same thing. Okay, you know what? You want to see multiple results?
Well, I mean, I'm not discounting what you're saying, but what I'm trying to get across to you is our administration is indicating they're going to maximum security.
Okay, so here's what you should look up. The name of the prison is La Esperanza Prison. Now, make sure to put prison afterward because La Esperanza doesn't mean prison in and of itself. It's kind of like if you named in the restaurant the Cool Kids Club. That's just the name they gave it.
Okay.
La Esperanza Prison, El Salvador.
Yeah. How many immigrants did we send to that prison?
I've not seen the exact numbers.
And see that's the problem. Without even suggesting anything you're saying is not true. Let's suggest everything you're saying is true. This is what happens when there's no due process. We don't know who was sent there. We don't know how many. We don't know what they did. All we have is to go on is what Trump and his people said, and that's it. Everybody we sent was bad. Trust us. That's all we have.
I know again. We're not in disagreement that Trump should follow the ruling of SCOTUS that says that these people have to be given due process. That we're not in disagreement on that. Okay. Now, La Esperanza is a much nicer.
It sure don't look like it from the pictures I'm looking at. They're still all naked and.
What the hell? That's CCOT. That's not La Esperanza.
No, it clearly says It says 546 La Esperanza prison stock photos. It clearly says it's La Esperanza.
No. Go to the right. Go to the right a little. There's actually to the left. Sorry, to the left. Right there. That's CCOT.
That ain't the photo I'm looking at. I'm looking at this photo right here with all of these damn people crowding in. That clearly says La Esperanza below it. So
that's not La Esperanza. That's CCOT.
How do you know? You been there?
People have actually gone to CCOT and La Esperanza.
Okay, I don't.
Okay. Go to YouTube for a sec. You'll see us. Within the first 30 seconds. La Esperanza Prison.
I'll go to it, but here's the problem. Without knowing how many people went there, for all we know, only one person went to La Esperanza and all the rest of them went to, because you don't know who went there or how many or what they did or anything, it's kind of a moot point. We don't know who he sent there, if he sent anybody there. We don't know because he didn't tell us.
That. And again, we're not in disagreements, okay? Nick Sterling has a great video on this. La Esperanza Prison.
The problem is whoever got the video, he doesn't know how many went there either, so I don't know what his point is going to be. Because he didn't.
Under Pluto TV, obviously.
You said what? Yeah, this right here.
Obviously not Pluto TV, but that one.
It says this prison will change history. That.
Yep.
Yeah, but like I said, without knowing how many people went there or what their names or what the video's not going to tell us anything because we don't know who's there.
I know, but it will show you that there are prisons out there that are not this maximum security prisons.
Right, but Trump is showing us the prisons they went to, and he's making it look like they went to maximum security. Trump ain't showing us these prisons. He's showing us the maximum security ones.
That's a fear tactic. That's a fear tactic.
But we gotta believe him because he's 100% in control of this.
I know, but you just press play real quick. You'll see what exactly I'm talking about.
I'll give it a few seconds. I'm not gonna play it too long because, like I said, it doesn't.
It'll take less than a minute.
The intensity and the production of the prisons will increase as there are phases to the prison. For some things you would never expect to see inside of a prison. Now it was time to go meet the warden who will be guiding us throughout the first prison, La Esperanza. And what's it like in here?
Aquí el día a día es trabajo en los diferentes talleres que tenemos.
You already get the picture.
Yeah.
They're lower security prisons. Some of these people are even being trained with bachelor's degrees. Some of them are being trained for EMS.
Yeah, but like I said, there's no guarantee that anybody we sent went there. So
we're not disagreeing about that. That's why.
So why are we even discussing this place? Trump is making it.
That the second that SCOTUS says you have to put them through due process, the problem will resolve itself.
Okay, well, like I said,
Trump will have to bring them back for the trial. Then he will have to start obeying.
he ain't bringing nobody. Trump is not going to bring these people back for a trial because if he does,
he'll have to.
No, he's not. No, he's not, because if he bring the people back and it turns out that you don't send innocent people to basically hell, there's lawsuits and accountability. To prevent accountability, he's not going to cooperate. These people are not coming back.
He will have to.
No, he doesn't. You don't. How can you make him bring people back if you don't know who he sent? We don't even know these people. If one of their families step up and say, you deported my kid, and the Trump administration says, no, we don't have any record of him, he must have been a runaway, how could you prove him wrong?
Simple, okay? There are records of these things, okay?
No, there's
Congress will look into the background of all of this, and they'll be able to pull out names and stuff like that.
The Republican Congress is going to do something that might hurt Trump.
First off, it's only a small majority, not an overwhelming majority. So yeah, a Democrat in Congress that has a small Republican majority will do that.
And you started out by being in a...
Don't you remember a lot of Republicans don't even like Trump?
You started out by being in the comments telling me I didn't know what I was talking about. You really believe that they're going...
I mean, I meant it. I really meant it.
I know you did. You really believe that the names of the people they sent away are going to come out and Congress is going to provide that?
Yes, Trump is going to have to bring them back. Okay, and El Salvador, being the tiny country that it is, will not be able to just say no. Now, also, I wanted to address something else.
Wait, hold on. Before you move on, I'm going to say this again. There is no way to prove that Trump sent anybody anywhere. There's no way you can prove that. So the idea that they're going to bring him back, if the Trump administration says, we never sent this person anywhere, there is no way to prove that. So I don't know why you keep saying it, but go ahead. What else you got?
I wanted to say something about this, like getting Trump reelected. You do know that first off, two things. Number one, it's not there have been many presidents that have actually had 3 terms.
Right,
okay?
before they changed the Constitution, right.
Yeah, to the 22nd Amendment.
Right, but now is the Constitution preventing it.
Obama wanted to get rid of the 22nd Amendment too.
Based on what? I ain't never heard that.
He pushed for it.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did, and a Democratic senator actually proposed a bill to do it. Now, obviously, changing the Constitution is legal, but it is something that takes a lot of people to do. It is something that takes a lot of people to do.
So when you say Obama changed the 22nd Amendment, he gave a speech and all of that. Where's the evidence that he did that?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
I can't either.
He was. I believe he was talking to Congress. You know how like presidents are allowed.
It didn't happen.
They can't actually propose a bill themselves because they're the executive branch rather than the legislative branch. But they can tell the legislative, hey, here's something I suggest. And then the legislators have to do it themselves. Okay,
so there are legislators that put this forward.
Yes.
Okay, if I tell you one thing, I've been watching right-wing media damn near exclusively during the Obama term. They would have been making a big fuss about that. I remember hearing in Hannity and...
I'm surprised they didn't.
Because it didn't happen. That's why they didn't do it. It didn't happen.
It did, though. And again, many presidents have asked for this to happen.
All right.
And they asked for it to happen legally.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and go on record and say, I don't know what I'm talking about, according to you. I got to move it on, Jeremy.
But before you do, one last thing, Tim.
Sure.
Okay, I just wanted to say, as per Michael's comment in the last conversation and Dead Cal's in the last time I was up here. Mm-hmm. Listen, I understand that you guys are weak. I understand that you're too weak to stand on your own feet, and that you want everything to be done for you. Okay, but at the end of the day, the white man can't solve all your problems, and you can't blame all your problems on the white man. It's just weak and pathetic.
All right, fair enough. Appreciate you coming through, Jeremy. Thank you. All right, moving it on real quick in the comments. There we go. All right, moving on to the program. By the way, tap the screen before I blame it on the white man. If you're the white man, tap the screen. Stop keeping my likes low. The white man is keeping the program down. Tap the screen, get the likes up. Certainly, if you're watching on YouTube, you know I enjoy hearing from the white man. So feel free to like the program. Hit the like button if you're on YouTube or TikTok. Feel free to drop a subscription. This is a free speech program. I see the comments. What did I say there? Damn, my eyes is not focusing. In Dirty in 46's last guess was slow as fuck. Gangsta Grandma. Certainly, I'll bring you up in a minute. Let me get in the comments. Dude, my wife just caught me getting high on her birth control. What should I do? What the fuck? Your wife just caught you getting high on her birth control. How do you get high on birth control, G-Money? I don't know where to go with that. Stop blaming everyone for your own problems. Stop being a victim, says Gerald Jimerson. You know what's funny? Throughout Trump's political career, he has been constantly playing victim. And it's been okay. People have been okay with that because they believe him, but you don't believe. Look, people play the victim card all over the damn place. I don't care if Trump walked outside and tripped and fell, he would blame it on the Democrats. He does exactly what you're accusing people of color is doing. I mean, everything that happens bad to Trump, I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. He blames it on the liberals. So playing victim, you like it when it happens from him. Real quick in the comments, ignoring how many court orders is saving America. Yeah, I don't know how. White men kept me down since day one, says Daniel Henson. Oh my goodness. They played victim on DEI, LOL. Yeah, the DEI thing is certainly playing victim. DEI means I don't want to compete with minorities for jobs. It would make a lot more sense. The DEI, didn't earn it. It would make a lot more sense if they were flagging people for DEI and showing, whether through resume credentials or something else, how this person never should have had this position. Like when he got rid of the head of the Coast Guard or got rid of the 4-star general that happened to be black. Trump's on TV. Here you go. This guy went from being a major all the way up to colonel. How the hell did that happen? If he could show something like that, then look, he got me on his side. But when you got a guy that's been in the military for 40 fucking years and you were one of the guys who appointed him and you're now suddenly yelling DEI, show us how he didn't have any merit. I mean, the only thing I'm seeing is he happens to be black. I mean, that's all I'm seeing. This guy's been in the military for 40 years. You telling me he didn't earn where he's at? So yeah, DEI is just simply turning into some kind of synonym for being black or being a person of color. But if you show me somebody that is getting fired for DEI and they literally do not have the merit, then I'm on your side with it. They fired a lot of folks at DEI. Very few people. I don't think I've seen anybody where they showed that this person should never have been in this position. You got people that were pretty far up in government. You should easily be able to pull up their resume and show this person skipped all these levels. There's no way they should have ever been up here. He ain't doing that with none of them folks. This is kind of like the immigrant thing. You just need to believe what he's saying and not fucking question it. That's the same thing with the federal firings. If I tell you it's waste, fraud, and abuse, if I tell you they got fired for lack of performance, damn it, believe me. You're obligated to believe me. Don't fucking ask me questions. That's what we're hearing because he's not proving any of this stuff. If he could prove it, I'm on his side. But folks are saying, instead of getting mad at Elon, you should get mad at the people who are wasteful, fraudulent, and abusive. Don't ask questions. Just believe us. I don't buy that. Listen, I'm okay with what you're doing, but show us that it actually needs to be done. Why is there such a pushback in showing us, in giving us receipts on any of this stuff? You're literally fighting people when they ask you any question at all. You should just take my word. Gangsta Grandma, good evening, Gangsta. Welcome to the program. How you doing this evening?
I'm fine, but you know how that dude said that LGBTQ is mentally ill?
Yes.
Hell yeah, I'm very mentally ill. You know why? 'Cause I like my pussy and I like my dick. Yeah, and I like sucking. So what the fuck? I be that mentally ill shit.
Damn, you started out hard. Okay.
It's the truth, man. You know they say that we're mentally ill. Hell yeah. I got my cake and I eat it too, bitch. I come home to my bitch and my man. How about that? And I'm very mentally ill, okay? Okay.
So you don't buy into the notion that if you're because you're describing bisexual. So you're saying being bisexual is not mentally ill.
Hell no, I have my cake and eat it too. I got chocolate pussy and dangling. So the fuck? Who don't like that? But come on now, shit.
Why do you think he's saying that then?
Because he's jealous because he can't get pegged or nothing.
Wait, you said he's jealous because he can't get what?
Peg? Shit. He can't get none. He can't pull bitches or he can't pull no dang-a-leg. So he's big mad. That's what he don't like us.
This
We
ain't,
got freedom, man. Like, he don't like us. That's why. That's why the people hate us so much, because we live in our truth. And half the motherfuckers don't live in their truth. They like to bend over and get it in the ass on the DL. You feel what I'm saying? And they don't like that. Oh no, honey. I know a lot of men that are in the DL boogie. And let me tell you, they straight and white and Christian.
so you believe there's a lot of hidden homosexuality among MAGA?
Oh, yeah, especially white teen men. And they're Christians. They say they love their Jesus, but they be bending over. You got two of them in the White House. Donald Trump is...
No, you're disrespecting the president. You're disrespecting the president.
I don't give a damn. He's disrespecting us. What the fuck? He wants to bring in segregation shit. So what did I tell you? What did I tell you yesterday? The United States gonna burn, man. Because we're not our ancestors, honey. We will burn it down.
You know, I had one of my guests, Stevie D, in the comments said, they said, why the hell do liberals always want to burn shit?
Because we can. Like they did on January 6th.
They didn't burn anything. They didn't burn anything on January 6th.
Honestly, it's not just us burning those Teslas. It's the Republicans too. They big mad. You don't think you think it's only us? Come on now.
You know, let me say this. Let me say this. You are on to something, because the people that Elon is firing and pissing off, they're not just liberals. That's a great point. That's a great point. It very well could be.
Germany, it's in France, it's the whole world. We're tired of this. Sorry ass. This little bitch needs to go back to Africa, go suck on some ding-a-ling there, and be somebody's bitch over there.
Why are you saying these men are gay? Elon Musk got like 13 kids. He likes vagina.
Oh, I can't tell, honey. I can't tell. Because he is, those two are just gabbing on each other.
Both Elon and Trump have been with some of the most beautiful women. They have no end. Why are you saying they're gay? Why are you trying to say they're gay?
Don't go there. Don't go there, because what's his name? Coochie is nasty looking. She don't even shave. When Russia put her shit on blast, let me tell you, I thought I was going to die. That's why I told you, I'll never be with a mayonnaise-looking woman. Because I've never seen a JJ look nasty like that. Nope. I will never eat a, nope. Hell no.
Did you say man?
You didn't see the pictures?
I seen it. I thought she looked okay. You talking about Melania Trump nude?
Coochie did not look okay, honey. I think you nasty then. If you could lick that there, honey.
Okay, let's get into the show, because you wilding out today. You like a...
You told me to be real. And goddamn, I'm being fucking real, man.
Yeah, but I mean... I want you to be, listen, I want free speech. I want you to speak your mind, but yeah, but
you don't have to keep me.
No, you
Let me
listen.
tell you something. I'm the truth, okay? I am the truth. You let these maggots get on here spitting out the hate and stuff. I don't even know why the hell you be talking to their asses, because they really don't like your butt.
What have you heard from, wait. When have you heard MAGA, when have you heard MAGA spewing hate?
What? Are you fucking still? I know your ass is tripping.
I'm just asking. I'm asking.
What the fuck? You lost your mind, cuz? You lost your mind.
I'm just asking.
What is Megan? What? You lost your black ass mind. That's what you did.
Give me an example of MAGA on here spewing hate. Give me an example.
They be spewing hate on everything. What are you talking about, Willis?
I'm just
They want segregation. They voted for the rapists. They voted for the Triple K. What the fuck are you talking about? Everything is still standing with them.
He wasn't.
Take our education system down. They don't want black folks here. You know what? Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you this now. They're getting rid of the brown people. You don't think black folks is next? You don't think black folks
Well,
are racist?
they're getting rid of illegal immigrants, Grandma. Not just brown people.
They don't give a damn as long as they brown. They didn't give those guys due process. They didn't.
I agree with that
What the fuck
part.
are you talking about? And you don't think they're not gonna come after you next? You're not white, sweetheart.
So you think that MAGA or Trump is going to come after black citizens? In what way?
Duh.
In what way?
Oh my fucking God. Look what he's trying to do now. They did it 3 times, dude. 3 times already.
Example.
They did 3 times. They did that, what's that, 17 some shit. I'm so high right now. But 17 some shit. What is that shit? What is that?
You talking about the
They
Alien
did
Enemy,
3 times?
the Aliens Enemies Act?
Yes. They did it to American Japanese. What makes you think that your black ass ain't gonna be next?
We don't have a history of using an Aliens Enemies Act on black people.
Oh, it's gonna be the first time.
So you make it sound like MAGA is just straight racist.
Oh my God. You walk like a fucking duck. You talk like a fucking duck. You a duck quack quack.
But we got black MAGA out there, gangster. We got black
oh my
MAGA.
God, those are the house ninjas. They want to speak. They want to be white so bad. They're all that bobbing on his dick so bad. Thinking, well, yes, master, yes, master. See, I'm into the BDSM, honey. I say yes, master, to my dumb, you know.
Wait. You're trying to tell me
something. Doing it to the white man.
You're trying to tell me someone like Tim Scott, who's damn near my complexion, wants to be white?
Yeah.
He can't. Byron Donalds, he wants to be white?
Not in the cabinet. What?
Byron Donalds, Tulsi Gabbard, or Candace Owens, you're saying they want to be white?
They want to be white. Yes, they do. They want to be white.
Based on what?
They want to be.
What's making you say that?
Who would vote for a man that is doing the triple K and stuff?
You know they're going to bring up if the Democrat Party started the triple K.
They always do that.
Yeah.
We party switched. Duh.
Good, just
They party switched. I mean, come on, what? The Democrats, no, we're not all perfect, okay? But let me tell you, we're not trying to segregate, and we're not bobbing on the white man's dangling like he is. You feel what I'm saying?
you need to stop saying the president.
They are house. Well, you know what I mean? They are. They want to be white so bad. They're thinking the white man's gonna love them. But when the segregation comes, where they gonna be at? Just like us.
Let me ask you this question. This is in the comments. This is coming from Dylan on YouTube. He says Trump deserves a 3rd term if the majority wants it. Hold on, hang on. If the majority wants it, they couldn't handle FDR as they made a 2-term limit. He said it's ridiculous. Majority rule, MAGA. What about the notion that if the majority of the country wants Trump to have a 3rd term, then he should have it?
He ain't gonna make it that long. He ain't gonna make it that long.
What do you mean by that? What does that mean?
It's in our Constitution. What I tell you, this shit's gonna burn. You know what? MAGA would do anything to keep that white, Cheeto head looking Jesus around. Oh, that's the master. I'm telling you, that's the master.
You are really disrespecting the office, gangster grandma.
I don't give a fuck. They disrespect our black asses. What do you want? Oh, you want me to be kissing it now, honey? Nope.
As a woman,
that's what it is with you. See, you fluffy. You are fucking fluffing. You know what? They're gonna bend your ass over next time.
What?
You're fluffing.
Oh my God.
You're fluffing, man.
As a woman.
Disrespectful. Hell yeah, I'm disrespectful to the white team man.
As a
you motherfucker, they're disrespecting your asses. What the fuck?
Wait.
I'm gonna kiss their ass.
Okay, gangster, as a woman of color, what has Trump done to disrespect you?
God damn. Are you fucking serious?
I'm asking.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm just asking.
Really?
What has Trump done to disrespect you?
He disrespects women. He's a rapist, for God's sake.
He's not a rapist. He was found liable for sexual assault in civil court.
Oh, fingers in the vajayjay, and when they say fucking no, it's great.
Well, he said sometimes women let you grab them like that.
Him? Man, I tell you, I'm a fucking lesbian when it comes to that. If I see that mayonnaise-looking bitch come on, I'm a lesbian. Hello? I don't want no more dangling. If I see that man, get the fuck out of here. Not everybody likes his ass. That woman is a millionaire. She didn't want his sorry ass. He raped her.
He was found liable for sexual assault, but he was not found to be a rapist.
It's great.
I'm just telling you how the courts ruled.
Well, the court said they're great. That's what he said. God damn it. And I would never respect a man like that. Fuck him, fuck his wife, and fuck everything about him. Hallelujah.
I think the dog disagrees with you.
My dog is a fucking lesbian. He's a lesbian, damn it.
I gotta go, gangster. You play hardball.
Okay? I'm sorry. I'm high as hell. But I ain't gonna lie to you, though. But on some real shit, we're in trouble, though. For real. But hey, I am mentally ill. I love my dick and my pussy. That's what it is, okay? So let that motherfucker come back up here and disrespect the LGBTQ.
All right,
You know what I'm
gangster.
saying?
Gangster grandma, everybody. Appreciate you coming through.
I love you, boy, though.
All right, same. Good talk. When we say free speech, damn it, we mean it. And that definitely put me in the trenches. That she made me work every inch for that. Anyhow, tap the screen and get the likes on up. That is one and only gangster grandma. Some folks in the comments, I see Pretty Fly. What is it? It says Pretty Fly, something 64 says weird and grandma. Shout out to you. Tap the screen. Get your point to about 60,000. We're working hard over here. I'm getting my ass kicked. All for your entertainment. So tap the screen. Get the likes up. If you're on YouTube or Clapper as well, feel free to go ahead and follow the program or subscribe. We're here Monday through Friday, so if you like civilized dialogue, sometimes a little bit uncivilized, but we call it civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host trying to dictate your opinion of what you should say. You're in the right place. We're about free speech here. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. Everybody gets to speak. We can be critical of anybody, including the host. So looking in the comments real quick, Trump will serve 3 terms minimum, says Local Things. Well, and I see it followed up by Local saying Trump for emperor. Damn. You know, I'm curious. Now, obviously I lean left on some social issues, but I'm willing to give Trump credit where I think he may deserve it. But what has he done that's so swell that he should be emperor? I mean, right now, we're not suggesting that the economy is the best it's ever been. We're not suggesting that the job numbers are the best they've ever been. We're not suggesting that the world is calmer than it's ever been. Why is he being deemed as an emperor? I don't let somebody cue me and let me know how he is that great. I'd be curious. I mean, I understand his first term. I gave him credit. The economy was good right up to the pandemic. We didn't have any new wars that time under him because he wasn't talking about taking over Greenland, Canada, Panama, making Gaza the Riviera of the Middle East. He wasn't talking about doing all that crazy shit. So what is it about Trump in his second term that suggests that he should be an emperor or be around for all of this time? I'd be curious to know from you folks. But continuing on with the program, we'll go to one of the supporters that love to cruise. Now you're following Gangsta Grandma. That was she put me through the trenches. Love to cruise. Good evening.
Good evening, Tim. How you doing?
You know what? Just hanging around. So Trump, a third term. What say you?
Oh, it's gonna be. He's trying for a dictatorship.
But what
Do
about?
I agree with it? No.
What about the notion that he has been a very effective leader, and maybe the majority of the people want him to stick around?
Well, you know what? That's a catch-22.
Explain.
Because I can't argue with the majority. All I can do is say what's right and what's in the Constitution right now, and that is a 2-term president.
Right.
But if the majority, and I mean a legit majority, say that they want a 3-term president, unfortunately, I'm just one man. I can only speak for myself, but I would have to go along with the majority.
Is there any chance he could get your vote?
Oh, hell no. No. He didn't get my vote the last 2 times.
Is there anything he could do? Okay, he didn't get your vote the other times. Is there anything he could do to win you over?
No, because anything he would do at this point would be fake. It would just be fake. He has showed his true colors. And if he us over at this age, trying to get, trying to conserve or have a different opinion, it won't be genuine. And he'll be lying like he did to Megan now. And one moment before you ask your next question.
Sure.
Megan
Hold on, hang on a second. Are you guys? A lot of folks are saying they can't hear. You guys on TikTok, you can't hear me because they say they can't hear the guest. Drop out. I'm gonna bring you right back. I'm gonna drop you out and then just request again, and I'm gonna see if it changes. Okay, can you guys hear me first? Hang on for you YouTubers. I know all you guys are okay. Can you hear me as the host? And then if so, because the guest is not there, so let me make sure they can hear me, and then I'll bring Love to Cruz back. Okay, so everybody can hear me. Don't know what happened there. I do not know. Sometimes TikTok can be like that. Love to Cruz, put your request in. I don't see you in the request. I'll bring you up next. I don't see you in there, but we'll go to another guest. Well, Love to Cruz, put your request back in. They lied to you. Was that what that said? I tried to bring them up, and that did not work. So we'll continue on. Love to Cruz is back. Okay. Good evening, Love to Cruz. He can win me over by giving away what? Okay, Love to Cruz, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, let me know in the comments, folks. Okay, can you guys hear my guest? He said yes. Okay, so nothing Trump can do can win you over.
No.
I don't know why they can't. They're saying they still can't hear you for some reason. I don't get that. Yeah, they're all still saying they cannot hear you.
Yeah, I see that in the comments.
Yeah, I'm trying not to reset the whole live. Let me try. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to put in an interim guest, and then I'll come back to you and see if another guest they can't hear, then I'm gonna reset it. But let me try, and I'll come back to you after that guest. Okay. And I bear with me if you're on Instagram. I mean, if you're on Clapper or if you're on YouTube, because all of those are fine. We'll go to another guest and see what happens here. We'll go to Mike. Good evening, Mike. If so, I'll have to reset it. I see Pierre said I'm going to YouTube. Mike, are you there? Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear everybody. I'm just, apparently the folks that are tuned in cannot hear him. So can you guys hear Mike? Go ahead, Mike.
No, I just want to see if they can hear me.
No, they said no to you too. Okay.
Yeah, they still can't
All
hear me.
right. So what I'll do then, if that's the case, since nobody can hear my guest and we won't have a show otherwise, I'll go ahead and reset the whole live. It'll take about 30 seconds for you folks that are tuned in. Just same channel, you know how it works. Same back channel, same time. We'll be right back in about 30 seconds. So, Mike, I'll get you right back. All right, moving on with the program. Real quick, I got to reset that. Looking in the comments on YouTube real quick. Entropy Corsi says if he was any other president, he'd be out by now. I can see some validity to that. I do believe that we're giving Trump a lot more. We're giving him a wide berth to do things that we probably would not. Like January 6th, I don't believe Obama would have got away with that. I don't believe if Obama had suggested that the election was stolen from him and led a protest that turned into what January 6th turned into, I don't think he would have got away with that. So I do believe that Trump is able to get away with a few things. But I could be wrong. Let me go try to bring the program back up and see if we can continue the show. I don't know why we could not do it the first time. So as people began filtering in, I'll read a few comments while everybody is filtering in. And we could go to, well, he's not in there. Sean is not in there. Tim, you said the SCOTUS would never find against Trump. Also throw your broke crystal ball away. I didn't say that SCOTUS would be 100% in favor of Trump, but I do believe that if anything goes to the Supreme Court that concerns Trump, his chances of winning are significantly greater than losing. But yeah, they'll rule against him on some things, but the odds are in his favor. If something goes to the Supreme Court for Trump, the odds are in his favor. Not only are they a conservative Supreme Court, which would mean they would naturally be in his odds in his favor anyway, but also it's like 6-3, so it's a pretty strong majority. And then you got folks like Alito and Clarence Thomas that have really went above and beyond. I mean, Clarence Thomas has went into the conflict of interest zone, where his wife is actively working with the Trump campaign during the Stop the Steal. You got Alito and they're flying flags upside down and shit like that. So yeah, I do believe that if it comes down to the SCOTUS, there's a far higher likelihood that Trump will get a ruling in his favor. Real quick, it's happening. It's happening to Dean can't hear anything. I don't know what that's saying. TikTok. Okay, so is it TikTok glitching? You guys are saying? Let me see here, because everything's working fine over here. I'll try to bring up a guest and see what happens, because everything is working fine over here. I did just see a glitch though. I did just see a glitch. Stock market firings, inflation, lies, they'd be gone, says Intro Free Corsi. Well, people will be complaining, but I don't think a bad stock market or inflation would get a president kicked out. They would just be pissed off. Mike, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yep.
They do apparently hear you now. So okay, we're good to go. So segregation. Would America be better off if we just segregated ourselves?
Man, no. I don't think so.
Why not?
I think the sheer idea of the conversation. I think the sheer idea of the conversation in the current climate tells us that it's not a good deal, and that it wouldn't be a good deal. It would just create more tension. They would continue to deplete marginalized communities of resources and opportunities, and it would just continue to get worse.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It's crazy even to have it. Listen to what we're talking about in 2025.
I mean, and it's not based on fear mongering. It's something that they did. I mean, contractors can now discriminate. So it's not like we're speculating or pretending here.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
We're having this conversation.
It's
and
insane.
there's still people willing to justify it. Gen X is willing to justify it.
Gen X said it would be a good thing. He preferred it.
Well, of course he would, Tim. Of course he would. That's why he joined the organization he joined. What are we talking about?
I'm just saying.
Shit.
I'm just saying.
You don't join a bicycling club to walk.
It's a good point. That's a real good point. You don't join a bicycling club to walk. That is a good point.
Yeah. He joined the organization he did because they're his views, and to sit there and say, first of all, let's get back to the Venezuelans again, because the whole time, for every publication that went out, it said alleged members. They disregarded that the whole time. We were saying it the entire time.
Yeah.
And now to come find out that you displaced some people and sent them over. So they don't think about the recourse on these actions. They don't think about the fallout afterwards, like the impact of the people and their right to. You don't think they're going to file lawsuits? You don't think that's going to happen?
Well, and that's the reason why I was disagreeing with Jeremy when he was talking about they're going to tell us who the people are. They're not going to tell you because they don't want them to have the ability to file lawsuits. I mean, because you got to prove that they were sent there. If the president of El Salvador doesn't confirm they were sent there, and the Trump administration lies and says they weren't sent there, then your lawsuit ain't going nowhere. If both sides say you've never been here, then you show up in court saying, I want to sue for being wrongfully sent here. Prove that you've been.
See, listen, and I don't disagree with you, but listen to what you just said. If we don't say you were on the plane, and Venezuela doesn't see you're on the plane, you're essentially missing.
That's what they're doing. That's why they didn't give them due process, and they didn't tell you if the person actually had committed a rape or murder, as they're talking about. Because if you do it the way Trump is doing it, you don't have to worry about accountability. You literally can make people disappear. Like some of their families are complaining that they did not know their relative was in that El Salvador prison until they saw the video of them coming off and getting their head shaved and shit. And people saw their relative for the first time, like, damn, he all the way down there. They didn't even know.
Now, so can we go back? Can we go back to Springfield, Ohio? Can we go back to those conversations when they were talking about mass deportation? And unfortunately, because Trump said it, there will be some people that basically just get caught up in the wash. You remember?
Yep.
Remember that conversation we had? And we were told time and time again. I remember Jeremy saying it. I remember Gen X saying it. I remember MAGA saying it. I remember Twister saying it. I remember all of them saying fancy prayer. I can rename all of them said it was fear mongering. Every last one of them.
Hell, I even said a lot of, not that particular thing, but I've even accused the liberals of fear mongering on a lot of things that they were saying was going to happen under Trump that has come true. So, I mean, because I had Jeremy on the program earlier saying that the left, no, it was Gen X said the left went way too far to the left. Trump has done some things that are so radical that even me who leans left, I thought the liberals were fear-mongering. They were predicting he would do this shit. Like segregation. There's no way in hell I would ever thought Trump would have tried to bring back segregation. So he is going very far to the right. It's just his supporters don't see it that way.
So let me ask you this. You said you never thought.
No.
But at the same time, were you hoping that it wouldn't happen even though you were reading that was part of their plans?
I don't want any of this shit to happen. I think all of this shit is bad.
I know. And here's the thing, Tim. Who on the left wants it to happen? Like they act like the left is sitting around going, I can't wait for our rights to be taken away.
Well, there are black people that would prefer us having our own shit. I mean, there are black people who favor segregation.
Well, that's one thing, but I'm talking about from the political climate and how you voted. Right, how you voted.
Right.
You know, like we saw.
Whoa! Vital! Whoa! That was beautiful. What were you saying? He threw me off with that. What were you saying?
No, I'm just saying everything that we're talking about. Somebody said it in the comments. Eagle 45 said exactly what I was getting ready to say. And I told you this too. At the DNC, when Kamala gave her speech, she mentioned all of this shit. Nobody listened. When she had her speech, with her debate with her and Trump, she mentioned the same things. Nobody listened. It's not like it wasn't out there in play. Why do you think Biden was moving the way he was moving, Tim? Why do you think he was appointing all of those federal judges? And the
I hear what you're saying, and that's a good thing, by the way, the federal judges, because it does keep some kind of checks and balance. But the fact that Biden would not leave, to me, Biden is what fucked up the Democratic Party.
I mean that's everybody's opinion. I can't argue against it, but I also saw him seeing this then. You know, of course he's not on this fastball.
Yeah, Biden absolutely. I agree with you. Biden absolutely tried to drop some breadcrumbs because he's also the one that tried to speed up the asylum process. He saw that coming. He did a few things. The Ukrainians, he knew they were going to get their help removed, so he sped up giving them weapons and giving them access. He knew what was about to come down the pipe. So he did. I agree with you.
Does that sound like somebody that doesn't understand what the hell's going on?
That doesn't mean somebody else couldn't have been advising them to do it.
No, again, you have a cabinet or not?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what you're supposed to have. But again, the messaging from the left, where they didn't push back hard enough, is on how they're demonizing DEI and woke as if it's something new or if it's defined by them. Like Jeremy just said in the comments.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, DEI equals unemployable. But see, that's the white supremacist racist bullshit and the uneducated approach about what DEI actually is. Because he couldn't Google anything from any reliable source that said that DEI meant anything but what it actually means.
Well, you know my take on DEI. If you want to suggest that somebody got a job and lacked merit, I'm 100% getting rid of that person, but prove to me that they lack merit. Same thing with the illegal immigrants. Same thing with the folks that are getting fired from the federal government for performance issues. Show your work. And I'm not seeing actual receipts for lack of merit. They're just firing people, yelling DEI, and as long as they got brown skin, it seems to be okay. Like, show me he lacked merit, and they're not doing that.
Well, but Tim, we got to go back to understand that still doesn't define what DEI is.
Yeah, I get your point, but
you know what I'm saying. I mean, so it's hard for me to have a conversation with somebody who's sitting on the position of DEI was handing somebody something that they didn't deserve. That's not what it was. And so if I'm having this debate, then I'm conceding that it's what it was, and it's not what it was. That's not what it was. Yeah. That's not what woke meant. That didn't mean any of that. But if you're going to have a conversation with that as the basis, damn near everybody in his administration isn't qualified. They're all DEI.
That is also a great point, is that a lot of the folks that Trump has fired for DEI, he's actually replaced them with people that are lesser qualified.
And it's not even close. This is even up for
Yeah.
debate. I mean, hell, but again, that's how I know it's never been about it. It's never been about that stuff. It's always been about their agenda. I mean, but now you got some GOP, you got some people from the GOP pushing back on what Trump wants to do with NATO.
What do you mean?
You heard about that, right?
You guys explain that.
So Mitch McConnell was warning about, because Trump wants to pull America back from having such a big role in NATO.
Okay, I'm aware of that.
Right, and now some of the people on the right, Mitch McConnell, a couple other GOP senators are pushing back and warning him that that's a bad move, and they're doing it publicly.
Gee, I don't think Trump gives a shit about that. Mitch McConnell's on his way out.
Right. But there's two that aren't on their way out, and they're speaking out. So it's just interesting, But it's just interesting to see, are they going? Man, I mean, we thought that maybe he was. It's just crazy.
Oh.
The funny thing about the Republican Party, Tim, when's the last time we had a leader that was a TV star, or when's the last time?
Reagan.
Yep. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, but Reagan. I mean, Reagan had a lot more unity in terms of America. I mean, didn't he win like 49 states or something? I mean, he did really well.
Yeah, he did. But he was also governor first too.
True.
But he rose to popularity through his movie career.
Right.
Through his career, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger did, right?
Yeah, but I actually think Trump was a more popular celebrity before becoming president than Reagan was.
Well, it's just a sign of the times. This is the times we're in, right? A lot more social media and everything. But at the end of the day, this move to not be inquisitive enough to ask the right questions and just go, well, they said that's what woke means. That's what it means. Well, they said that's what DEI, that's what it means. You know what I mean? That's what it means. Even though you can sit here and show somebody the definition, and they'll still say it's not the thing. Gen X does it all the time.
Yeah.
Like that conversation you had with Gen X about the swastikas and that tattoo versus another one. He was spinning himself into a damn pretzel trying to make sense of something that is absolutely asinine, Tim.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even a conversation. But as soon as you say that, then I know I can have a genuine conversation with you. I know you're hell-bent on your views, and your views are harmful. Simple. Yeah. They're just harmful. Yeah. I mean, you can't get around it. You can dance around it all you want. If you side with what's going on right now, still, in the moment that we're in, you are for harm. For marginalized people, period.
Yeah.
Because you can't say you don't know. You can't. Today is the 60-day anniversary, right? He's been in the 60-day anniversary. He's been in office for 60 days as of today.
Yeah, he's done a lot. I was watching the World News. I think it was World News Tonight. He's I think he's broken a record for most executive orders, right up there with FDR.
Yeah, this is insane.
Yeah,
it's absolutely insane. But what the harm is going to do, we know most of these executive orders got to go through the courts and they have to be ruled on. And he knows that because it's always been his game plan, Tim. What did he do the past 4 years when he was fighting all of those cases? What did he do?
Delay.
Delay. This isn't different. I'm going to put out these executive orders. I'm going to do whatever I can, whatever we want to do in between that final ruling. And then so, right? Mm-hmm. And then so. And it's funny. It's so funny. When I get up here, I laugh because Jeremy always has something to say. But Jeremy is so far up Trump's ass.
Damn.
I mean, listen. Jeremy might be looking out of Trump's belly button. His head is so far up Trump's ass. He can't see.
Jesus Christ.
He can't see any rational. He can't even push back.
No, I gotta defend Jeremy because he did admit one thing. Before I do that,
What do you mean?
hold on. Before I do that, Tamara Bowles says Joe Biden still had no business running a second term and should have let that be known. I said that. I do agree with you, Jeremy, on that. That he ruined the Democratic Party by trying too long to do this. So you got my agreement. Thank you for the super chat. Jeremy admitted that the lack of due process for immigrants was wrong. He did admit that.
Tim, in the chat before he came up, he was also telling me that the Supreme Court had ruled in 2024 that illegal aliens, is the term he used, didn't have any rights, which is crazy as shit because it didn't happen. He sent me a source that I looked up, and the shit he wanted me to find wasn't there. These people are losing their mind.
I've had people suggest that as well, and it's pretty easy to open their eyes when they say that illegal aliens should not have rights. And I ask them, so if a person comes into America illegally and you just rape them, should there be no recourse? Should you be able to just rape them and get away? If they got a little baby with them, you can just do whatever. No, but then they have rights then. If you believe you should be held accountable, then they do obviously have some rights.
It's hard to have a conversation with somebody that thinks they have facts and then tell you that Nancy Pelosi's a clone. Right? I mean, come on now, Tim.
A clone. Oh my God.
Isn't that what Timmy
That's it. Yeah, he does say that. Yeah, Tim, he does say that.
And he honestly believes she's a clone. So how can we have any other furtherance of a conversation with any substance when you think this human walking around is not fucking here?
Yeah,
listen how stupid that. Listen how Tim. When they talk about the derangement syndrome, when they talk about the derangement, they're really projecting.
Yeah, but in defense of Trump, in defense of MAGA, not Trump, but in defense of MAGA, most MAGA are not cute. That's cute when they say that Biden is Jim Carrey and all that. That's cute talking. Tim is cute.
Okay, fine. You don't even have to go that far to the right to also use the same examples for MAGA when they act like the Venezuelans. So now you know that they all weren't gang members, that they're all not from a T group that Trump designated them as to be, and they will still tell you, but so what? It's like, what are we talking about? Yeah. If we can, but we're the crazy ones.
Yeah, the problem with that is, like I often say on the program, is that MAGA does not believe anything Trump says should be questioned. I'm not saying that some of the things he is not suggesting does not. I mean, I do believe we should get rid of folks who are harming folks. I think that he has things. I think some of the stuff Trump says is legitimate, that you should follow the law, but that don't mean you have to believe everything he says in regards to who's breaking it. If he just yells out that this person is a murderer and that person is saying, no, I'm not, you don't just believe him blindly. And that's where MAGA tends to have a belief in Trump. If Trump says something, then it must be.
Okay, so two things. When somebody can come to the conclusion that no matter what this person says, it must be true, and I'm going to abide by it or live.
Don't you do that! Don't do that!
You already know how I'm going. What is that, Tim?
Don't do that!
I'll say it because it's not my show. That's called a cult.
Are you talking about this?
Yes, I am. 100%. Anybody want to debate me on that, just feel free.
Oh, my God.
It's absolutely cult behavior, period.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any excuse. If you just blindly believe in somebody, and by the way, Trump is a human being. He's just like any other politician. He's been caught saying things that are not true, some of it by accident or ignorance, and some of it just blatantly lies. So, yeah, there is no legitimate reason why you should just continue believing everything Trump says when he's been caught in lies. I mean, Biden, Obama, they've all been caught in lies. There's no reason to just blindly believe a politician. But, yeah, there are plenty of MAGA that will blindly believe Trump, and they don't favor you asking any questions at all. So, yeah, that does have that type of connotation you're talking about too.
Millions, Tim. Millions of people. Millions of people. And let me say this too. The left has never said they don't believe that violent criminals that are in this country shouldn't be deported. That's never been the thing. You've never heard them argue that, no, they should stay here. You've never heard that argument.
Not for a violent criminal.
But I've been telling you that, no, you haven't heard. listen, most of Americans believe, yeah, if you're not from this country and you're here illegally and you've gone through the process, yeah, who's arguing that that's not the
Well,
That's not
the
real.
left is responsible though for people being here who have not been vetted, which probably means some violent criminals have come here. The left is also okay with people being allowed to stay that did come here illegally. But no, if you actually been confirmed to be a rapist or a murderer, no, there's nobody on the left saying you should be allowed to stay.
Well, and let's back up, Tim. I can't let you just say that. The left is saying that people should be able to come here through the process. Through the process.
That's not illegal though. If you came here illegally, you didn't come through the process.
Say again?
If you came here illegally, you didn't come through the process.
Again, what's illegally?
Running across the Rio Grande, overstaying your visa.
Okay, exactly. Overstaying the visa that you already had, that's illegal. Have you heard the left say that's okay?
Yeah, there's plenty of people on the left that are okay with letting you stay. If you've been over here and you're here illegally, but you haven't committed any crimes since coming here illegally, there are people on the left that want to let you stay.
For what reason?
Just being kind to you. You know, look, this person is struggling, they're broke, you know, maybe they don't know how to speak the language, they've been gone from their home country for so long. There are people on the left that want to let illegal immigrants stay in this country. I can't believe you ain't heard that. Plenty of people on the left do.
Well, hold on. I'm not hearing them blanketly say, I don't care what your circumstances are, you should just be able to stay. Because that's basically what you just said.
No. I'm saying that if a person came in this country illegally and they've stayed under the radar for years, they haven't committed any violent felonies or anything since coming here illegally, but they are here illegally, and once they get caught, there are people on the left who will say that you should allow them to stay because they've been working, they've been inputting into the tax system, they're a good person. There are plenty of people on the left that want them to stay.
Well, okay, Tim. Again, you know how I am with words. They want them to go through the legal process to stay.
That's skipping the line, though, Mike. That's skipping the line.
Oh, well, here's the thing. But again, it's a deeper conversation because you got to talk about the line. You got to talk about the resources that, first of all, the immigration system has been broke for a long time. It's been broke for 30, 40, 50 years. Actually, 50 years, right? We don't process claims fast enough. Yeah, people have been here illegal for years. And when after 20 years you've been here illegally, just pick them up and ship them back. So what the left is saying, well, if they've been here, let them go through the process.
Do they get to stay here while they're going through the process?
That's a different discussion, right? That's a different discussion. But here's what I'm saying, Tim. Here's what I mean by that. If you've been here for 20 years doing whatever you've been working, you've been contributing, you've been paying your taxes because you got your
You've been hiding from the law.
Well, not even hiding, just literally working. Hey, Tim, you can come. You do realize you can come here and get a temporary.
Okay, Mike. Here's where they believe the liberals are going off the deep end when you're defending this stuff. They're going to look at you and say, look, first of all, you're here in the country illegally. You've been hiding for the law for 20 years. Why didn't you try to get legal the 20 years you've been under the radar? You wait till you get caught to now beg for mercy. Why didn't you do something to put yourself in a better situation before immigration caught up with you? This is where they start not having mercy for a lot of the immigrants, and where the liberals look like bleeding hearts on that.
And I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to push back and say, number one, who says they've been hiding and running and haven't done anything to try to become U.S. citizens?
If you've been here for 20 years and you're not here legally, show me paperwork. Show me where you've been trying. If you don't have anything, you ain't been doing nothing.
Okay, that's fine. I have no argument against that. The reason I'm saying what I'm saying in the order in which I'm saying it, because we are talking to an audience right now, and the idea that most illegal migrants that are here have done what you said, been here for 20 years, haven't tried to get legal, haven't done shit. Like that's a huge number of the people that are here is not accurate.
Yeah, but Mike,
there are people here that have done that.
Yeah. Right? And the liberals are trying to protect those people. They are. I mean, essentially, it's like you committed a crime, And because you stayed under the radar, when you get caught, you're expecting the police not to punish you. This is where the liberals start looking bad.
Yeah, I don't see it like that at all, and the data doesn't support it to the extent. But here's what I am going to say, Tim, and I've told you this since the day I met you. When you have a conversation like we're having, and people are so far one side that they're willing to harm people at a large rate, that's why I take the position I have, because I can't trust the people that want to do this to do it the right way.
Okay.
And we're experiencing it right now. So if you ask me, they got 100 people over there, and I got to trust that because they tell me that all those 100 people are criminals.
Well, you're making me wear the hell out of my MAGA hat today, because I'm gonna take the other side and say that you can't trust the liberals to do it the right way either, because Biden let a hell of a lot of people in the country. We don't know who they are or where they came from, so you can't trust the liberals either.
What? Let me ask you this, and I know we can talk this about this whole time. What did Biden do that was so different outside of the scope of the law?
First of all, you're letting people declare asylum, and you're not doing so much as even trying to verify what country they came from. This could be Al Qaeda. You don't know who the hell this guy is. You don't send him to you don't just gave him a court date and let him go into the country. He could be anybody.
Tim, hold on, Tim. So you're telling me that people come in here seeking asylum, right? As soon as they they're seeking asylum, and that they're not trying to do their job. They just said, fuck it, just let them go. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying we don't know who these people are.
Why do you think we were having that issue, Tim? Let's talk about this for a second. Why do you think we were having that initial issue under Biden's administration? Because the asylum laws, when people were claiming asylum, and we weren't being able to process asylum claims, right? Why were we having that problem?
You're telling me Biden couldn't do nothing to fix that at all?
Why were we having that a problem? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is what happened initially.
That's what I'm saying, though. Doesn't matter what happened initially. You see, Trump is trying to fix it. Biden should have done something to try to fix it. Don't just blame the fact that the problem exists. What are you doing as president to fix it? Trump can answer that question. Biden cannot.
That's not true, Tim.
Then what did he do? What did Biden do to try to fix it?
Well, here's the thing. What I'm trying to tell you is when it was happening, we didn't have enough.
What did Biden do in his 4 years to try to fix the broken immigration system?
Well, they were trying to get these asylum claims. What do you want? Listen,
the answer is nothing. The answer is nothing. That's the answer. You're turning me into MAGA. I gotta move it on. You're turning me into MAGA.
No, hold on real quick. I don't want to leave this point because that's not accurate. What I'm trying to
You didn't give me something. What did he do to fix the system? You admitted the system was broken when Biden got in office. What did he do during 4 years to fix it?
Well, they tried to push legislation through like they were supposed to.
You want a participation trophy?
Tim, listen. So here's the problem. Let me tell you this, and then we can go. Here's the problem, Tim. When we have a system in place, and you're trying to use the system that's in place, whether it moves slowly,
the broken system. He's trying to use a system that we're both admitting was broken.
Yes, and he tried to fix it by trying to push legislation forward that didn't get approved.
What about executive orders? What about executive orders? You see, Trump ain't waiting for all that bullshit. Trump is doing executive orders. What about executive orders?
And again, Tim, hear me out. What he was trying to do was use the system. He didn't want to do the executive order because the executive order is against the law, which is why he's being sued by the ACLU now.
I don't think anybody, listen, he could have got sued during his term, but if he genuinely was trying to protect the border, I think he would have prevailed. I really think he would have, because he would have got probably a lot of Republican support for securing the border. Yeah, they could have sued him, but I got to move it on, but I think he would have won. I really do. The answer is nothing. He didn't do anything. That's why they voted him out.
I'm going to say this last thing, and the data supports what I'm about to say. When we talk about the border and people coming across the border, and then it was the rapists and the murderers and all the countries letting in all of their criminals, crime from immigration wasn't any more significant than it had been before. Okay. Which is my whole point, Tim. We're talking about immigration like because of that, we were experiencing this rise in all of this fear-mongering and crime that wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. Yeah,
I don't buy that everybody was coming here and raping and murdering people. I'm not in that camp.
But that was the argument and the rationale for the border being quote unquote open. That's my point. You can't use that argument.
Well, the argument is also welfare and entitlement programs that immigrants. I mean, there's other things there. The fact is, Biden should have had more on his resume of what he did. The fact that you don't have anything to really give that he did to fix the system that we both admit was broken when he got in office makes him look incompetent in this particular area.
Didn't they try to push a bill forward that they turned down to him to fix the problem?
What did he do executive order wise, Mike? That's what I keep telling you.
Once they didn't pass it, he did the executive order. What I'm saying, did they put legislation forward or not?
Yeah.
Did they put legislation forward?
Yes.
That was written by the and what happened, Tim?
You're talking about the border bill?
Yes, and what happened? And that wasn't the first time, that was the second time.
Okay, but the border bill, 3 years into his term, Mike, 3 years.
They did it when it was one of the first things he signed when he first got in office, Tim, and they shot it down.
When they shot it down the first time, he should have went right to executive orders.
What? And I'm gonna say this again, and then you can drop me. What problem were we actually trying to fucking solve? It was a made up crisis about fear mongering people about what's happening across what everybody's coming in and we're doing all this fear mongering and the data doesn't show that, Tim. That's the whole point.
All right,
what are we fixing for?
I'll talk about it. I think we disagree. I'll talk about it another side, but I do got to move it on, man.
Oh, and by the way, somebody brought up Lincoln Riley. Tell that to Lincoln Riley's family. There's a whole lot more families that had a worse experience than that live right here, Randy. So there you guys go, tokenizing Lincoln Riley.
All right, Mike.
All right.
Appreciate it. All right, moving on with the program. Listen, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't even think the liberals think Biden did a good job on the border. So, I mean, there are ways to finagle it. Mike made some points, but the fact is he does not look good in the manner he dealt with the broken immigration system. Now, Mike is correct. The Republicans did not want him to fix the system via border bill, but they still could have done more. He still could have. He should have had all sorts of daggers where he could show, I threw this dagger, I threw that dagger, and they were shooting all this stuff down. He doesn't have that. They are still blaming the immigrants, not the ones hiring them. That's a great point, Charles Vaughn. I am a big... that's a big point that I make also as well, is that we're pretending like the illegal immigrants that come to this country, undocumented, whatever you want to call it, whatever term you want to use. We're making it sound like they're doing this shit all by themselves. And it's not. That is an actual fact that there are a ton of American employers, hotels, farmers, construction sites, meat packing plants, factories that hire these folks, and they know they are not legal. And you don't hear even Trump, who's tried to do more and made more of a fuss about illegal immigration than any president in our lifetime. You don't even hear Trump bragging about how many American corporations he's closed because they were caught hiring illegals. Chances are because a lot of them probably donated money to his campaign. But yeah, I don't think you're going to solve the illegal immigration crisis without looking at the American co-conspirators. Same thing with Trump talking about fentanyl. The reason we have a lot of fentanyl in this country is because there is a demand for this shit. You can go after the supplier all you want. If there is demand, it will get in. And Trump doesn't go after the demand because those are Americans. He's only going after the supply and all of this stuff. Everything the illegal immigration population brings in this country, there is a demand for it. Whether it is folks coming over here seeking to work under the table, child trafficking, hard drugs. All three of those things, the predominant things that Trump bring up as to why we need to control this issue, there's a huge demand for all of that stuff. Ain't nobody in America claiming that an illegal immigrant pinned them down and forced them to enjoy a child being trafficked, or forced them to take fentanyl, or forced them to hire them. Americans want this shit. So unless you go after the Americans that want this stuff are going to find ways to help them folks get in because we have a demand for what they're supplying. And even on the far right, they're not talking about going after the demand. Real quick in the comments, Will G, as always, says MAGA ain't shit, says can't even elaborate as to what the lack of merit is in people other than looking at their physical appearance. Until I see otherwise, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I agree that DEI is solely based on appearance. I don't believe it's based on lack of merit at all, because there is no demonstration that anybody's lacking merit. It's just a whole bunch of people of color, LGBTQ folks, and women getting terminated. They're not showing any evidence that any of those folks lack merit. So I agree with that. But once again, Will G says, damn, MAGA ain't shit. You don't hear that anytime somebody have a super chat and says something ain't shit. MAGA says MAGA ain't shit. He says they say Democrats caused Trump to appear. It's called racist white rage, is what Will is saying. If you think white people have a monopoly on merit and credibility, you have a problem. Yeah. I gotta say, if you believe it, if there are people who believe that only white people have merit, that is crazy. And I'll cue up what I was going to play because it matches exactly what Will just said in the comments. I've played this before, but he really reins the point in well.
Are gingers.
He really reins this in.
They've always been. The latest example being the plane crash in Washington. It was the DEIist. But don't take my word for it. Let's let MTV's Road Rules star and Fox and Friends B-teamer explain DEI.
You can't focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion when you try to hire air traffic controllers. You want the best. You want the brightest, protecting yourself and your family.
We will have the best and brightest in every position possible. It is colorblind and merit-based.
Look, there's a lot of reasons why the FAA is in a bad place, but these guys would have you believe that the main problem is that standards were somehow lowered to make sure that a black person or a gay person gets a chance to land your plane, even though the requirements to become an air traffic controller are the same. But by culture warring this tragedy, Americans spent that terrible night holding their breath that the pilot or the air traffic controller wouldn't be a woman or a black person or in a wheelchair. Because what they're trying to do is make the default setting on competence in America a white guy. That's...
I kind of agree with that, because that is the way we grew up. At least I did in the 70s and 80s. You know, if you got on the plane and the pilot, a black person came out of the cockpit, you're like, shit, I hope you know how to fly this motherfucker. I mean, you did view white men as being competent more. That is the way it used to be. That was the default setting. You know, if you seen an astronaut on TV and they weren't white, you question whether they were competent. That being a white man was the default setting. You had a lawyer in court. You wanted it to be a white dude. I mean, any position, any managerial position of prominence, you kind of question whether the person was capable of doing the job if they weren't a white guy. And what Stewart is saying is they're trying to go back to that. And I can't disagree with Stewart, because the people they're firing, they're not showing they lacked merit. They're just showing that they're not white dudes. That's literally what they're coming with. Because they're not firing anybody that's white for lack of merit. It's people of color and women. If you're white and you don't know what the hell you're doing on your job, nobody says it was DEI. But for some reason, if you're a person of color or a woman and you get fired for not knowing what you did, it had to be DEI. Maybe you just hired somebody that fucked up. We all can fuck up at our job occasionally. You know, you might have actually had all the necessary merit and just did something wrong. Every black person or Hispanic or a woman that screws up at her job did not get the job because they were a black person, a woman, or a Hispanic. They may have been totally meritless and just had a bad day or just had a bad week or, you know, got hooked on pills or hooked on alcohol or something else could have happened in their life. Every person of color that fucks up at their job did not get the job just because they were a person of color. But that's what people are starting to say now. When President Trump hired Omarosa, an African-American woman, in his first term and ultimately had to terminate her, he didn't go around saying he hired her for DEI. Now, many other people did, but he didn't say that. Just hired somebody and it didn't work out. It ain't always DEI. People are literally using DEI to designate race. I mean, it really is turning into that. Like what Will is saying is that they're using it to designate skin color or how, some kind of physical appearance of the guy. It ain't got nothing to do with merit. Otherwise, they would be showing you all these people that lacked merit. And I use the example all the time, and I'll go back to the box, but if you had employees at your business, at your small business, and I said, okay, you got 10 employees, and I'm like, well, you need to have at least one of them be a person of color, a woman, or a member of the LGBTQ community. Why is the assumption that if you had to hire at least 1 out of 10 employees, which means you only got 10% of your employees are under the DEI category, why is it automatically assumed that if you had a requirement of hiring a person of color, a woman, or a gay person, that there would be no one of merit you could find? That if you hire a person of color, it's guaranteed that that person has no merit. There is nobody of color you could go out and find that actually has merit. That is exactly what Jon Stewart is talking about, is that the only people you can find that has merit are white dudes. If your company has white guys, nobody's going to assume they lack merit. But if your company has people of color in it, then they only got the job because they were a person of color and they have no merit. That's exactly what he said when he says the default setting of people with merit are white guys, because we're assuming nobody else has merit. He's literally describing it. Looking in the comments, though, real quick, bringing up the next caller, we'll continue on the program. But yeah, he literally is describing that perfectly. Chris says, Tim, they want to go back to the old days when they hire a 3rd grader over a high school graduate. Damn. Let's hope that never happens. I'm going to bring up a caller from Clapper. Sherbert, good evening. Welcome to the program. Sherbert, can you hear me?
Yeah. How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. So we talked about the notion of America being a segregated country. Do you see America possibly being better off if we were segregated?
We're going to go to a civil war before we let that happen.
Why do you say that?
You can't keep fucking around with people, Tim. You can't, this is the Luigi shit all over again. You can't put people in the corner and put them back down after they've had the freedoms.
Yeah.
This is utter horse shit. Why do we want to have sundown cities again?
Ooh. Sundown cities, that's a whole, a lot of folks.
Oh, I know. They want to print more copies of the Green Book. That's what it is. It's all about the publication companies.
Why do you think Trump would want something like this? Why do you think Trump would try to take us back to a time when we're segregated?
That was his favorite time, Tim. That's when he was on top of the world in Brooklyn, making all those housing condos for the boomers.
Wow. So when he says "Make America Great Again," you believe it really is taking us back to a time when I guess whites were on top.
Oh yeah, 100%. Man, it's real sad that we're just going back to hate. And then, man, when you were talking about Steve Bannon having the 2nd most popularity, people don't want to have actual good ideas. They have the loudest. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
You said people don't want to have good ideas. They just want the loudest person you're talking about?
Yeah, Steve Bannon just talks a fucking bunch of shit. Mike Lindell talks a bunch of shit.
Talking about the Mike Pillow guy. Well, I don't think anybody wants Mike Lindell to be I don't think anybody wants Mike Lindell to be a politician. I think
not anymore. He went a little too far.
Yeah. They would take it. Well, Alex Jones went a little too far. Alex Jones went a little too far, and I think they would love to have. I think there's plenty of people who would love to see Alex Jones as a politician.
Well, Alex Jones went too far with the Sandy Hook. But
Right.
people forget that Steve Bannon went to jail for stealing millions of dollars from Trump supporters.
Yeah.
To build the Wall Foundation, and then he got picked up by the Postal Service.
Yeah. Well, Trump pardoned him for the stealing from the Wall Fund. He actually got a Trump pardon for that.
Isn't that amazing? Just, blatant crimes. Don't worry about it. But Hunter Biden making money at a job he probably shouldn't have been in. But that, oh my God, top of the world, how bad could it be? And then, no, I literally stole millions of people in front of them. Not a big deal. I beat up cops. Not a big deal.
It just shows you Trump is a good person to have as a friend.
some reason, money seems to count more than actual humanity.
Hasn't it always? I mean, seriously, is there ever? I mean, you see what you see what our healthcare system is like. I mean, they will let you die if you don't have enough money. I mean, we've always cared more about money than humanity.
I mean, as the richest country in the world, you really hope we could do more for our own people, but it always comes down to greed and hate. Yeah. It really bothers me.
But I keep bringing this up to many callers. Trump claims he's done more for blacks than anybody since Abraham Lincoln. So he makes it sound like he doesn't hate.
And then we're talking about segregation. We're talking about sending people away for tattoos. Yeah. We're talking about sending people away for freedom of speech. We're talking about taking over whole other countries just because we want it. It's all horseshit, Tim.
Why do you think?
Don't want to be such a pessimist, but he's shown us his full ass.
Well, when I hear your opinion of Trump, which is quite negative, why do you differ so much from MAGA? Why don't MAGA and Trump supporters see things the way you do?
Because I don't have hate in my heart. I grew up with a gay twin, and now I have a trans sister. I grew up in a very liberal part of the country that didn't give a fuck about everybody else.
So
let people be people, but other people want to live in hate because that's what they were taught. White supremacy makes zero sense to me.
You're suggesting that most MAGA have hate in their heart?
It sure appears that way. Why else would you be pissed off about books that talk about gay penguins if you didn't have hate in your heart over something like that?
Well, they believe that it may negatively affect children.
I'm pretty sure reading the Bible would negatively affect children too, but that's my opinion. That doesn't mean I get to ban the Bible.
Yeah, that's a good point. Gay penguins, is that really a book that talks about gay?
Yeah, it was Tango makes three, I think it was called. And it was when penguins lose their mothers, the community comes together and that some of them are gay. Animals in the animal kingdom have been proven to just be naturally gay sometimes.
Why are they teaching? But why do
it's just a thing that happens in nature.
But why do kids need to read that? Is what they're going to say. Why do kids need to know how animals are fucking?
Because it's part of nature. We're not supposed to learn about nature, Tim. We're supposed to stay ignorant.
Well, we learn about nature
because we can relate animal culture and we can relate what happens in the natural kingdom to how we react into our own situation.
Well, we learn about
animals are gay. It's not a big deal.
You know, we learn about animals, their sexuality from a standpoint of mating to procreate and extend the species. When you're talking about homosexuality, that's just sex for pleasure. Why do kids need to know about that?
It's not for pleasure. It's a way of life, Tim.
What other reason?
I'm tired of this.
Wait, what other reason? Hold on.
People are gay. It has literally happened forever. Same thing with the transgender. Same with drag shows.
But Sherbert.
Look through all of history and see this shit. What does it fucking matter other than people are hateful and don't like what doesn't look exactly like them?
I mean, that's how humanity.
You can spin this and you can fluff, but goddamn, humanity has not really changed very much. It just goes through a cycle of, oh yeah, we're not at war right now. Do whatever you want to. Fuck you, my God says no. I don't care what your God says. I don't subscribe to that. Stop being a cunt.
Wow. Well, they say they say this country was created on Christianity, though.
I don't give a shit what it was created on. I'm all about people having good morals and just not being nice to each other. But when you come at this shit about left versus right, it's just be a good person. That's all that matters. That's the only thing that has ever mattered. Just be a good person. And when you live by hate in your heart and you want to condemn others for no real reason, if someone is being an asshole and beating up on people, yes, you will get my contempt. But just because they're living in a slightly different way, no. I'm going to be more hateful towards like redneck meth heads. And no one have a problem with that because they're probably doing some fucked up shit. But just because someone wants to live a different way and be gay, and you have such moral contempt for it, I can't be your friend. I don't want to talk to you. I don't think your opinion really matters at that point. Because if that's what matters to you, you're worried about the wrong shit.
Any chance, because you mentioned in terms of religion and people going by what their religion is, a lot of folks suggest that the reason why America has lost its way is because we strayed away from religion. They want religion back in schools. What is your take on that? That maybe
Gen X said it was unnatural to him. I think religion is unnatural. But just because people have beliefs in a higher power doesn't mean that theirs is the ultimate right. Everyone should be able to believe whatever they want. That's great. Don't push it on me.
I
understand that don't push on your kids and everyone else's kids if they don't want to hear about Muslim fundamentalism. But the same thing, I don't need to know about the story of Adam and Eve. I do know it because I want to be open and understanding of what your culture says and how you believe. So I'll learn about all of them. But to actually say somebody shouldn't have it is a whole different story. I'm not saying nobody can have it. Just don't put it in the schools. Don't put it right in the middle of everyone's faces like they say happens to them with all the gay stuff. Yeah, there's a parade. If there was a Christian parade once a year at a big festival, absolutely. I will salute you. I'll go to that. And I'll go talk to all these, theoretically nice people. But it's hypocritical to then hate the other people just because they have a celebration of something they live.
Yeah.
You can't have it both ways, Tim. If you want to celebrate your rights and your fundamentals and your religion, great. Have your party, have your celebrations, have your churches. But fuck off when you start telling me yours is the only way.
Well, it's one of those things, God bless America and no place else type mentality. That's what it is. God bless America and no place else. It's kind of like that. So continuing on, the notion of Trump now, we talked about this earlier in the show. Trump, one of his right-hand men, Steve Bannon, suggesting that Trump is going to go for a third term, and they're working on that. What say you?
I think I'm going to get arrested at the Capitol when...
Oh, you did? Yeah, we've talked about that. That is you. So
I don't want to get arrested, but it's most likely that it will happen at the point of fascism that we'll be in at that point.
So what if America votes to give Trump a third term? That's not fascism if we vote on it, is it?
I mean, there's really not much I can do. The other guy at the beginning of the show was saying that if it is the majority,
right?
But that would actually be a mandate to get that done. There are proper systems to change the Constitution.
True.
They have the House and the Senate, and yet Trump is passing no actual laws.
Well,
it doesn't. It's so dumb. They want these things done. Get it done instead of making executive orders. Executive orders do not work because they can be overturned, like we've seen. They can be stopped by the judges, but if you make it law, when you own both sides of the house, what's happening?
Well, it's just quicker. If you do it by executive order and then you don't follow the courts, you can get what you want a lot quicker.
Yeah, when you build your foundation on dog shit, it doesn't really hold up to the elephant.
Is there anything Trump can do to win you over?
Yeah, if he did things the right way, Tim. But if he does it fast, loose, and completely illegal, then no. Yeah. I have no problems when they do it proper systems, and then we can fight it out in the right way. But when it's just, nah, we won, go America. No, do it the right way. Stop pissing off all our allies. You're going to ruin the country. And everyone's going, yeah, but he's the cult leader. I don't give a shit who your cult leader is. Stop ruining our connections with other countries.
Well, I'll tell you something.
I'm tired of being the laughing stock of the world, too.
What about if Trump actually expands the size of America and makes us a stronger empire? I mean, if he takes over some of these lands, Greenland and Panama, he could make America a bigger, stronger entity.
Well, you can ask Northern Ireland how that's going for England.
You breaking up something awful.
You can ask Northern Ireland how that's going for England.
Yeah. Well, it went well for quite a while, though.
You're asking for trouble when you start trying to bring in hostility other parts of the world.
Yeah. Well,
there's one thing when people want to come here and contribute to the society, and there's others when we take their goddamn land.
Yeah.
There's no way that's going to end well when we have the North trying to conspire against us because we took everything.
I mean, that's how we were founded, though, is by taking land.
Doesn't make it right to do it now, especially for no real gain. We don't need it. They can be their own people. It's the same thing as the gay people, Tim. Yeah, but they're not us right now, so we must hate them.
Yeah. I mean, so you do believe Trump genuinely hates gay people?
I don't know about that. Maybe. I think a lot of his supporters do.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't heard him speak in terms of the LGBTQ community positively, other than when he was getting votes from him for a while, but it generally is negative when he talks about that community. So I tend to side with you on that.
Hate sells, unfortunately. Trump is really good at selling.
Yeah, he's really good at. I gotta move it on though. You
can't stand how he talks.
Yeah, I gotta move it on though, Sherman. You're breaking up. Yeah, in the van you break up, but do appreciate you coming on as always. Good talk. All right. You welcome. All right, moving on with the program. Yeah, he's breaking up. By the way, folks, if you do want to come on live, Clapper or TikTok, same name, Handsome Liberal, come on up. Looking in the comments, no lost void. Somebody speaking Spanish in the comments. I do not know what that means, so I'll continue on. He's saying push gay, not God. MAGA truth. I don't get what you're saying. Will G says ICE reported that deportation had surged to a 10-year high under the Biden administration. You said, wait a minute, let me read that again. You said that, ICE, so that was Biden's ICE. ICE reported that deportations had surged to a 10-year high under the Biden administration, with 271,000 unauthorized immigrants deported in the fiscal year 2024, surpassing Trump's era high of 267,000 deportations in 2019. Well, I think the problem, the pushback is going to be, even if ICE said that deportations had surged to a 10-year high under Biden, they're going to say that under Biden, border crossings also had surged. So yeah, you're deporting more people, but there's also a hell of a lot coming in under your watch. I believe that is what the counterpoint would be. Maybe I'm wrong, but I believe that's what they would say. You can't brag about you're deporting more people because you're taking in a whole lot more too. The numbers were noted to be the highest since the 316,000 deportations in 2014 during the Obama administration. Yeah, but like I said, bragging about how many people you kicked out, if the people that you're letting in is sky high, it's kind of all relative at that point, or it might even be a moot point, depending on how. Because I've seen graphs. I don't have anything to bring up right now because I didn't expect to go into the numbers, but I have seen graphs, bar graphs, of folks coming in across the southern border under everybody going back from Bush, Obama, Trump, and under Biden, and it's way higher under Biden. It is way higher under Biden. So if he has more deportations, but you got this huge number of people coming in, it might not look that great. So I'd have to look into the amount of folks that came in under Biden for that number to make more sense. MAGA is happy that the Department of Education is getting defunded, although it takes an act of Congress, but MAGA isn't educated anyway. Damn. Will, he says anyway, that's why Trump loves them. MAGA ain't shit. That's what Will says. And MAGA, he's right. MAGA is happy that the Department of Education is getting defunded. I'm not a fan of that. By way of yes or no in the comments. Yes or no in the comments. How many of you believe that Trump did the right thing by working to disintegrate the Department of Education? Will is right. It's going to take Congress, but he's taking the money out of it. He's literally defunded it. By way of yes or no, how many of you think that was a good thing, beneficial to America, that Trump did that? Bill Clinton deported 10 million. Damn, is that right? Well, that's 8 years too, though. That's 8 years. Dylan M says he wants them to be states' global security. He wants them to be states. I don't understand what you're talking about there, Dylan. In regards to the whether or not it was good to defund the oh shit, hang on a second, let me pause this. In regards to whether it was a good thing to defund the Department of Education, I got a lot of folks saying yes and no in here on that. Here's what I don't understand. I'll go back to the box shortly. On TikTok, I got a hell of a lot more no's, but on YouTube, I got more MAGA in there. Here's where I have the issue. You're suggesting that in America, our education numbers we're behind China, we're behind India, we're lacking in terms of success when it comes to educating our children. So the belief is we're putting way too much money into education federally and not getting a good return on our product. So the solution is take it out of the hands of the federal government and give it to the states. That's what Trump is pushing. The reason I have a problem with this is you don't have any organized system of how you're going to do it at the state level. You're going to tell me the federal government is fucking up, so you're going to hand it to 50 individual governors with the belief that they'll all get it right? How do you know the states ain't going to fuck it up? You're not doing anything at all to ensure that the states do it any different than the federal government. So why are we to believe that just giving it back to the states is going to make some kind of significant improvement? They can have all of the same fuck ups the federal government did. So it makes absolutely no sense to have this belief that if you give it to the states, it'll automatically be better. I'll tell you it is, particularly to my beloved MAGA. One of the issues you folks have is CRT in schools, transgender issues in schools. You think that is the wrong thing to teach children. What do you think is going to happen in liberal states? What do you think is going to happen in liberal states? So the idea that you're handing it to the states and it's going to all of a sudden improve makes no sense at all. You have no uniformity by doing that. Now you're going to have 50 different educational systems. That makes no sense. What makes you think that's going to make it better? It just means it's going to be different. You could have 50 different governors all fucking up simultaneously. I just don't understand what we're basing the belief that it'll improve by handing it to the states on. What are you basing that on? Every exchange of governor could lead to that state's educational system completely being overhauled. If you go from Ron DeSantis, for instance, to a liberal governor, the way education is taught in Florida is going to be completely changed. Yet you believe it's still going to be better than federal? Based on what? That doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't understand why people are so excited to take it out of the federal government's hands, suggesting that if you give it to the states, it's going to be better. This is what I'm talking about when I say blindly. Look, if Trump has the right idea, damn it, he got the right idea. But this is what I'm talking about when I say blindly trusting the man without asking questions. Somebody should ask him, based on what? You're saying the states are going to be better than the federal government. What is that based on? What makes you think a governor is going to do a better job than you're doing? You're the federal government. You're handing it back to the states. So you're saying your people can't do a good job, but at the state level they can. What are they doing that you can't do? Nobody's asking them that. Will G says MAGA definitely doesn't understand that the Department of Education is a streamline to all states for equal education. If it goes back to the states, one state education will not be the same as another. And I agree with that 100%. There is no streamlined outfit. So now you go from all of a sudden having a curriculum that students must pass. Like say, for instance, you must learn the Constitution to get out of 8th grade or something like that. Now all of a sudden you're putting us in an environment where every state can do whatever they want. So if you leave, let's say, like I always use the Mississippi, New York example. You live in Mississippi, your kid is in elementary school, maybe around 5th or 6th grade, you get a nice job in the city. So you move on up to Manhattan and you take your young 5th grader with you and you're going to enroll them in school in New York. And they have your child take some type of, exam to determine their education, because that's exactly what's going to happen once we go back to state levels. We can't just put your kid in here and he can barely read. They're like, damn, your kid don't know shit. He ain't a 5th grader here, he's a 3rd grader. So you don't have any uniformity to it. I don't see how states' rights at the educational level is going to make sense. I just do not see it. But under Trump, we may be forced to find out. It could be a fuck around and find out type situation. Actually, it's kind of like that now. Southern education is trash in the stats, dead last in the South. And that is, also too, if you go back to states' rights via education, won't that also mean that the funding of education is also dependent on the states now? So the states that don't have money are likely going to have kids that are being poorly educated. The more poor the state is, the less resources they're going to have to attribute to education. I just, like I said, if he want to suggest that states' rights is better, somebody should be asking him based on what? What is making you automatically assume that taking it from the federal government and giving it to the states will return a better result in all 50 states? Because now you got 50 different governors doing all the shit they want to do, mix and matching everywhere. Just assuming that the state, it just really don't make any sense. But continuing on with the program, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything before I continue on. All right, so going back to the next caller, right away, tap the screen. For some reason, I'm just blurry-eyed tonight. What the hell are we at? Oh, man. Give me up to about 30,000 in the likes. Give me a good solid minute of tapping. Helps out the algorithm. You know what I say, brings in more MAGA. Going back to the box, Triumph, live. Good evening. Welcome to the program, if it brings you up. Nothing he's doing makes sense, says the J-Man. Well, some of the things he's doing make sense. Protecting the border makes sense. Triumph, good evening. Literally. All right, moving on. Sometimes when people are waiting, they get real comfortable. Triumph got a little bit comfortable, so when I said good evening, he's like, no, good night. Real quick before we continue, and that man was asleep. It will now be extremely important for voters to focus on what they actually need instead of being mindless voters. People are always going to be mindless voters. They're never going to just focus on what they need. The whole LGBTQ, biological males and girls sports, big issue in our last election. That ain't got shit to do with what you need. That ain't got a damn. I doubt if anybody watching me right now has a daughter that's at risk of playing against a biological male in sports. And yet it was a major issue in the last election. So when you say focus on what people actually need instead of mindless voters, you're probably never going to get rid of that. A lot of the things we voted on in the last election falls under that category of just mindless shit that doesn't make any difference in your life. And that's what I stated before in the program. When folks suggest that Trump has done so well, he should be on the side of Mount Rushmore, I have been comparing it to your favorite team winning a championship. It's great to see a team actually lead the league, go all the way and win a championship. But how the hell does that change your life? Your favorite team won the Super Bowl. Okay, you get to sit around eating chicken wings, drinking beer, and celebrating. Great. But just your ass got to go to work tomorrow. You don't get any extra money in the bank because your team won the Super Bowl. Your rent don't go down. Inflation doesn't drop. It just gives you something to celebrate. But at the end of the day, it makes no difference in your life. Getting biological males out of girls' sports is like your team winning a championship. It gives you something to celebrate. It doesn't make any bit of difference in your life at all. And that's kind of what has been going on so far under the Trump administration. That's not to say he may not get the economy straight and get things back on par, but right now, most of the things he's doing, The waste, fraud, and abuse claims that he's finding millions, if not billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse. No longer assisting Ukraine. It's your team winning the Super Bowl. You haven't seen any financial progress because of any of that stuff. It hasn't changed your life at all, in one way, shape, or form at all. It's just simply made you happy to know we don't have money going to the Ukraine, to know we only recognize 2 genders, to know there's no waste, fraud, and abuse in government. It makes you happy to know that stuff is happening. But at the end of the day, it hasn't made a difference in your life at all. In fact, if you work for the federal government, it has hurt your life. It's hurt a lot of people's lives. So, like I said, until we start seeing some actual benefits, I don't know what the Mount Rushmore thing is coming from, but we'll continue on. Feelings over facts, says Debbie. Yeah, could be. Texas. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Let's try with Texas. My callers, I'm getting a little bit of pushback here. Texas, good evening.
How's it going, Tim?
Yeah, it's going good. Good to have you back on. So what do you think? What am I getting wrong tonight?
Well, I think the biggest thing is I think you're jumping the gun on this segregation stuff because of what he's rolling back. I think Trump is rolling it back because of what Obama added to it for the LGBTQ. Unlike your last caller, I agree with you. I think Trump has it out for LGBTQ, and I don't understand why. But so I don't look at it as a racial thing. I think he's rolling that back based off of what Obama added to it. You know, back in I don't remember what.
Yeah, but okay. So let's go with your theory. Trump is not doing it to go against, say, African Americans or Hispanics. He's doing it to go against LGBTQ. But has he not opened the door for somebody who do want to go after blacks and Hispanics to use that?
Oh, I don't disagree with you there.
Right.
That's why they've got to come back with something to, and hopefully, Congress and the Senate will get off their hands and start passing legislation to follow this suit. But
I haven't even heard
can't
that.
leave a door open.
Yeah, Texas, I haven't even heard Republican Congress people complain about it. I mean, like you said, even if Trump got it in for the LGBTQ and not against blacks and Hispanics, the porthole is wide open for anybody who wants to be racist against blacks and Hispanics to use this now. And the right is not complaining about it. I haven't heard anybody on Fox or, I watched the 5 today. Ain't none of them got a problem with this.
Well, like I said, I think they're not looking at it. They're not jumping the gun and saying, "Oh my God, this is going to lead to, segregation based on skin color."
You have to be crazy not to think that. You have to be crazy not. I mean, you and I both know there are racist business owners in this country, even black racist business owners. And if you leave this portal open where they can legally do it, they will. Anybody that's suggesting I don't think it's going to lead to this is got to be out of their fucking mind. You know somebody's going to do that.
Well, I don't think it. If I might be mistaken, but I don't think it opens it for the door for employers or anything like that. I thought it was just for federal contractors.
Wherever it's open,
basically being able to.
Okay, wherever they can do it, there's gonna be people gonna use it against people based on race. It ain't gonna all be just LGBTQ, is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, but legally and federally, it's still illegal to discriminate against someone based off their color. So that's not being rolled back here. That's what I'm saying. I think you're jumping.
What got rolled back? What got rolled back? What exactly got rolled back in your opinion?
Well, from what I was able to see on it, it was the FAR 52222 or whatever, which was for federal contractors to be able to, it was put in place so they couldn't segregate, and I think that's why and like I said, Obama added to it for the LGBTQ in his terms, and I think that's why Trump's rolling it back so that they can sit there and say, like they did when they came out and said, if you're biologically a man or a woman, and they won't have that, bathroom issue, I guess they're all having with in the Congress and stuff, that a lot of these Republican, congressmen and women are having trouble with it. They're allowed. Trans women are allowed to use the women's restroom. That's what they're trying to eliminate, I believe, on a federal level, not in the private sector, not in, now, if it works on a federal level and they don't get pushback, you could see maybe them pass legislation for that. But it's not going to be something that Trump can just roll back or executive order. It would have to be legislation.
I don't know if I agree with you. I see this as an area where if you want to discriminate against people of color, he's made it a lot easier to do that. I mean, I just don't, I mean, because even if you want to discriminate against the LGBTQ community, I mean, shit, you don't always know if you're doing that. I mean, you could have a woman that actually has facial hair and you think she's trans. I mean, to me, it opens up the door for all kinds of funky shit to happen, because there's a lot of actual men born as a man, everything that has feminine persona, and there's plenty of women that are born as a woman, they're 100% straight, but if you look at them, they look male to some degree. I mean, it just leaves people room to start fucking with each other.
Well, that room, I'll argue, has always been there.
Not at the presidential level.
Well, that doesn't change it. It's always going to be there, whether the president feels that way or not, because people have their views and their beliefs.
Yeah, but you do realize it'll get worse when people feel like the president is condoning it, right?
People that are extreme in those views, yeah. I mean, I was going to sit here and show you an argument or a point of view where in Texas, where I'm at, there's a bill trying to make it a felony if you identify as trans. Okay, that's far right.
Damn.
And
really?
Yeah, and so it should help you out, but they're getting a lot of pushback from that on conservative liberals, because that's too far right. So the too far right isn't going to survive, and it's not going to get stuff in like that and I think that's why a lot of your normal conservative and some MAGA people are sitting there saying you're fear mongering, because we're not going to stand up for duly elected officials, trying to enforce segregation. I've never lived in segregation. I couldn't imagine if we went to segregation. I would lose my mind. No joke.
Yeah, I mean, I've never lived in it either. I've never lived in that environment either. But I grew up in an era that's less than a decade before. I mean, I grew up I was born in the early '70s. So 10 years before I was born, it was actually happening. So I'm the first. That's what I tell people all the time when they say this stuff happened decades ago. Like, no, I'm the first person in my family tree, me and my brothers, that were born with civil rights. Everybody else in my family tree did not have it when they were born. I mean, so it ain't that long ago. Literally, we're the first generation that were born with civil rights from birth. So it ain't that far back.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, you can see that this bill in Texas, it's not going to go anywhere. It's some far right people that I expect aren't going to be elected again since they proposed this bill, and that's where conservatives are holding these far right people accountable. And you have to trust that it's going to continue to happen. I mean,
I hope you're right, man, because we're hearing one of the reasons. I hope you're right, because we're hearing that one of the reasons the left, people have shied away from the left as they went too far to the left, too woke, too progressive. You're pointing out rightfully that the right is doing that too. They're going too far to the right. Felony for being transgender. Wow.
Yeah. Well, there's always going to be, an opposite and equal reaction to something, right? So when the left goes too far left, you're going to have people on the right that go too far right. They're going to want to be like, oh, we've got to try to get rid of these trans people, and they're going to say they're mentally ill or whatever. I remember growing up, they always tried to say homosexuality or, whatever was a choice. And I always thought, is it a choice? Why would someone choose? You're not choosing that. That's, and I have friends that are LGBTQ, and a lot of them are born that way. So now it's, the far right is saying, well, it's mental health. No, it's not mental health. It's just they're that way. And it's a natural occurrence. And
the right don't believe the right doesn't believe you're born gay. They believe it's something. That's why they don't want it in schools, because they believe if you put it in schools, you could influence a kid and make them gay.
Yeah, they're getting there by at least acknowledging it as some form of something. I mean, mental health isn't the answer either, but it's better than saying, oh, it's a choice. I mean, God, they were trying to correct people and change them and torture them basically. At least that's not happening anymore either. You know, so
pray to get. You talking about
you
talking about praying? You talking about pray to gay away?
Yeah, we're making slow gains.
Yeah, you talking about pray to. You talking about pray to gay away? There's also a Republican legislator that wants to make Trump derangement syndrome a mental illness as well. I mean, so they are going far right. That is far right shit. They are doing that, and that's in addition to a congressman trying to make. In addition to Steve Bannon, there was another Republican legislator that wanted to give Trump a third term. There is a lot of far right shit happening from the Republican Party.
And the far right definitely want Trump to have a third term. But what they're failing to see, and I think a lot of people are failing to see, if Trump gets the door open to have a third term, who else does that open up a third term?
It ain't gonna be no more. Ain't gonna be nobody coming in after him. The door. That's it. We gonna submit. Yeah.
No. He will have to be duly elected for his third term. He will still have to run. But who does that open the door for?
Somebody you're probably not gonna like, Texas. Because you got to think, when you look at how much shit Trump has accomplished in only 2 months in office, if he gets 8 years. Can you imagine 8 years of this? There will not be anybody else that you can vote in after that.
If they abolish the 22nd Amendment, that will open the door for Obama to be able to run as well. And you're telling me that wouldn't happen?
Obama's a DEI. He'll be locked up by then.
No, he won't.
Obama will be. They'll be done put Obama in prison for treason or some bullshit. But if he get 8 years, they'll find plenty of ways to get rid of Obama. Shit. Obama will be scared to run. Shit.
I don't see him. I don't see Trump winning another election. I don't see it being ideal for the Republican Party. I don't see.
Yeah, you assuming that
the far right wants that.
You assuming that next election is you assuming that next election is going to be fair. Yeah, he might. Yeah, you be amazed.
Whoa, be careful. You'll sound like a Republican in 2020.
Hey.
We have fair elections still.
All right.
If you say we don't, then you're sounding like far right in 2020 when the election was rigged.
That is true. That is true.
Okay.
All right.
Let's stay centered.
I can give you that. I do got to move it on, but yeah, I can give you that. We don't want to get too crazy, but I mean, crazy times is as crazy time does. I mean, there is some far right shit coming down the pipe.
There is, but I think a lot of it's going to wash out. You just got to stay positive and know that those officials, just like here in Texas, those people aren't going to get reelected for trying to make it a felony to identify as trans. That's crazy.
You feel confident in that?
Oh, yeah. I'm watching it closely. It's no way going to be even passed. I mean, and those people are getting a lot of pushback. There's a lot of protests happening for it and a lot of support from both sides for it. Because that's just crazy.
I mean, when I thought the same thing when he overturned Roe v. Wade, it was going to have a major effect. And it turns out Trump actually won the women's vote, so I don't know.
Well, I'll definitely let you know if this passes in Texas, and if it does, then there is a large cause for concern. It's then the far right is winning in a way none of us would benefit from.
It would just mean if you are trans, you need to get the hell up out of Texas. I got to move it on, Texas. Speaking of which, thanks for coming through.
Thanks.
Anytime. And I had not heard of that. I see other folks in the comments had heard of that. A felony for being transgender.
Lawmakers have filed a number of bills that could impact transgender Texans this legislative session, including a bill filed this week that would create a new crime, gender identity fraud. House Bill 3817 is the work of Republican Representative Dr. Tom Oliverson from Cyprus. Under the bill, if a transgender person makes a verbal or written statement saying they are the sex they identify with rather than their biological sex to a government agency or their employer, they could be committing gender identity fraud. HB 3817 makes this a state jail felony punishable by up to 2 years in jail.
That is insane. Wow. He wrote down on a piece of paper he identifies as a woman, and he wanted a felony? Jesus. This is also one of the reasons I've strongly suggested why we have percentage-wise and per capita more people in prison than any other country other than, I think, China. there's no reason to put somebody in a penal institution for some bullshit like this. I don't even think it's mental illness, but at least go at it from that angle. Why would you put this person behind bars for that? Why would, I mean, like literally a felony? So 7-8 years down the road, trying to get jobs and shit, the fact that he said he was transgender is still gonna be hurting him? Because that's on his record? I mean, this is insane. It's insane to even propose it, but you're not gonna hear the right complain about it. And they just, even folks on the right that may think this is too far to the right, they ain't gonna say nothing about it. I mean, like I mentioned, Fox News ain't gonna bring this up because some of their viewers probably actually do support it. So you won't hear anything about this on Fox. It'll probably get covered on CNN and MSNBC, but that is insane. That is way too far to the right. Actually, it's kind of like that now. Southern education is trash. I saw that in the comments there, Will. Real quick, I want to make sure I didn't miss any. Let me know when TDS is a law. When Trump derangement syndrome is law. So we claim it for the Veterans Administration and the Social Security compensation in the future. Go get your money. You know, I asked that question for that politician that wanted to make Trump derangement syndrome be designated as a mental illness. Then you got to explain what the government is doing to address it. If a person has a mental illness, do they get time off work? Are they entitled to entitlements? And I mean, does the insurance have to cover it? I mean, you could open up a real big ball of worms by doing some shit like that. That could turn into a real bad joke all of a sudden. You may have a whole lot of Republican legislators that are pissed off. You costing my company a fortune with this TDS bullshit you don't pass. I mean, but the idea is they did want to, you do have a politician out there that wants to make Trump derangement syndrome insane. Because the only thing Trump derangement syndrome is insulting Trump. That's all it is. It's people who don't, may be critical of President Trump. Trump can insult anybody he wants and it'll never be considered as Trump derangement syndrome. The guy is insulting Joe Biden nearly every conference he has. He's standing outside of the White House. He sits in a Tesla and says, I bet Joe Biden couldn't do that. What the fuck does Joe Biden have to do with this? Joe Biden is gone. You president. Why the hell are you sitting in a car suggesting that the former president couldn't sit in the car? He has Biden derangement syndrome, but the right will never diagnose that. So, yeah, it just means you can only get derangement syndrome if you insult Trump. And that alone makes it a bullshit diagnosis. Because if you can get derangement syndrome from Trump, you should be able to get derangement syndrome from other people as well. So it's crazy that people come up with this crazy shit.
Reasons Faye makes working with a nutritionist easy and affordable. Number one,
I'm just curious because there's another one.
Republican lawmakers in Minnesota want to, here in the state, add Trump derangement syndrome as an official mental illness.
The bill aims to change our state's definition of mental illness to include a form of criticism of the current president. Hannah Flood joins us from the Live Center with the details on this. Is a bill that's getting national attention. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. This bill defines the Trump derangement syndrome as an acute onset of paranoia in otherwise normal persons that is in reaction to the policies and presidencies of Donald J. Trump. Now, this bill lists symptoms as verbal hostility towards President Trump and overt acts of aggression and violence towards supporters. Currently, mental illness is defined as a disorder or other issue that is included in a diagnostic codes list. While it's frequently used by President Donald Trump and his supporters, Trump derangement syndrome is not recognized as a mental diagnosis. The derangement syndrome political phrase was actually coined in 2003 by a political commentator. The Minnesota bill borrows the exact phrasing that commentator used to describe Bush derangement syndrome, describing critics of former President George W. Bush. Now, according to online records, this bill is set to be introduced today and referred to the Health and Human Services Committee. It is unlikely to be approved by the split legislature.
Just the fact that they even introduced that. I mean, look, I'm going to talk along party lines when I say this. The same group that favored going to the Capitol building, threatening to hang the vice president and smearing shit on the wall of the Speaker of the House is actually calling somebody else deranged. It kind of reminds me of Gary Busey And you know, the actor Gary Busey, you know, he's played it, calling somebody else deranged. I mean, like you don't did all of this stuff, but you calling somebody else deranged, and Trump pardoned him for doing that. And he, you can't make this stuff up. Derangement syndrome as a mental illness. Yikes. Like the blue anon that smeared feces on someone's Tesla. Yeah, well, look, we can talk about the Tesla. We had a conversation about that earlier, but you go to the White House, you're threatening to kill the vice president, and you're smearing shit on the walls of the Speaker of the House, and you're saying that the other side is deranged. How does that work? That doesn't make sense to me. They are literally trying to criminalize DEI. Well, in regards to this Trump derangement syndrome bill, this is a real smart way to make it illegal to criticize the president. It really is, because if you make Trump derangement syndrome a mental illness, you can start forcing treatment on people, which might be putting your ass in an insane asylum or something. If you're mentally ill, you can actually, if a person has a real bad mental illness, the police can take you into custody, deem you as a danger to the public or something like that. I mean, it literally is a way to slowly start penalizing you for criticizing the president. I mean, perhaps it could affect your work history. I mean, if you're a pilot or something like this, you don't want a pilot that has a real bad mental illness, do you? I mean, this is a way of actually getting people to maybe think twice before criticizing Trump. That's the way I see it. Looking in the comments, yeah, to silence opposition. That's the way I see it. You start calling people mental ill. I mean, that's, damn. What world we live in. Anyhow, folks, I cannot believe that. Somebody asked, how do you come up? I've got to put on the spectrum on Clapper. That was... is that Kawasaki or something? You just requested and I'll bring you right up. That's how the program generally works. So, but anyway, looking in the comments, I do appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. We very low today in the likes. I got a lot of lazy thumbs here. We should have been around 50,000 at least. A lot of you folks did not tap the screen. Nevertheless, you can't win them all. Men boxing women, what world we live in? That shit is incredibly rare. I mean, how many men have got in a boxing ring against a woman in the United States? I don't know any. I'm assuming it's happened, but I don't know any. I mean, how many men have gotten in a boxing ring and fought against a woman, and a transgender man, you know, a guy who is a biological male, identifies as a woman, and he's in the ring fighting another woman? How many times? Where has that happened at in the United States? I have not seen that happen one time. This is what I'm talking about when I say we're going to vote for issues that make no change in our lives. I mean, the right is all over that. And that's essentially happening nowhere. At best, it's a Minority Report argument. Remember the old Tom Cruise movie where they were arresting people for things that they may do in the future? At best, this transgender shit is, well, we're stopping it now because it may one day snowball someday in the future. This is not an issue in 2025. It just is not an issue. There's no biological males getting in the boxing ring with females. It's just not an issue. And that's why you get no support, man, says Gen X. Look, if bringing up the fact that nobody that is a biological male is competing against women of any, if that causes me to lose support, then I'm sorry. I can't. I'm not gonna play into making up issues. And by the way, I've done videos. I don't favor letting biological males play against women in sports. I don't favor it at all. But I'm not going to pretend like this shit is happening everywhere. It's not. It's not happening to anybody that's watching me right now, and I doubt if most of the people watching me know anybody else is happening to. It's just not happening. You could take any governor in America and put a pistol to their head and tell, give me 5 people in your state that's dealing with this. They couldn't come up with it. I doubt if there's any governor in this country that could come up with 5 people in their state I mean, it's just not happening to anybody. I'm going to say that loud and clear. I don't support it, but it's just not an issue. There's like somebody asked in the comments, what the fuck happened to talking about the price of eggs, groceries? This is not going to affect anybody's life at all. Pass all the bills you want to prevent biological males playing in female sports. That ain't going to change nobody's life at all. That is, like I said, like your team winning a championship. It's something to cheer about, that when you go back home, you still live in that 1-bedroom apartment. The springs are still coming out of your damn mattress. You ain't got nothing in the refrigerator. Your life didn't improve at all from that. You got a chance to clap and applaud them doing that, and then you went right back home to the life you lived. That has nothing to do with the life of 99.999% of Americans. So yeah, if that causes the Democrats to lose for saying that, nothing I can do about that. Trump himself said it wasn't a big issue. Yeah, there's no way to make it a big issue. He can't even bring even a few people on stage to tell you that it happened to them. I think he used one girl at the State of the Union that he had the other week. Apparently a girl was playing volleyball and claims that some biological male hit the ball and it hit her in the nose, a la Marsha Brady like, or some shit like that. It's just not happening. In fact, the biological male getting in a boxing ring with a female, I think that happened in France during the Olympics. And it wasn't a transgender woman. It was an actual woman that, kind of like a freak of nature, had extra hormones or something. It wasn't even a biological male that did it. There's just no examples of this stuff. I mean, people are thirsty. They're looking for examples to come up with because there's just no real examples of it. That's why I say it's kind of hatred. I mean, you're getting pissed off about something that they're not. It's the same thing with I don't want them going in the bathroom with my kids because they're going to harm the kids. There's no real world examples of it. It's just people getting mad for something they think is going to happen or attributing horrible behavior to this group because they hate them. It's just not happening. 10 NCAA athletes. You're saying there's, I did hear that there are 10 athletes in the NCAA that are transgender. Out of how many athletes though? I don't, like I said, I'd have to look into it, but it's just not an issue. It's just not. If it was that big of an issue, you would be hearing about it. In terms of the actual names of the people, the actual events, it's just not an issue like that. Yep, out of at least 1,000, yeah. I mean, 10 NCAA athletes out of, when you're talking about all of the different types of sports in the NCAA, it's going to be thousands of people. And somebody, I don't know the name, but it says, get real handsome. I am being real. Tell me how I'm wrong in this issue. I guess getting real means you should be more outraged about something that's barely happening is what your point is. The one is too many argument. I'll tell you this, if you had as many biological males identified as girls beating the hell out of women in sports or even harming harming children in bathrooms as you do videos of cops mistreating citizens, or you got more teachers, female teachers that sleep with their students than you do this shit. It's just super duper rare. As opposed to saying, I don't want my child around a transgender. You got a greater chance of your child being abused by the female teacher that's running the classroom. You got more of them that do damage to kids than you do transgender. The transgender community just has no instance of harming children. It's probably one of the safest places your kids can be compared to straight people abuse the hell out of kids. Religious people abuse the hell out of kids. It ain't the transgender community. It's the Boy Scout leader. It's the cop that's in your neighborhood. Them the ones that are abusing people. And the people we keep saying 99% of them are good. Those folks, them the ones that are actually doing it. It ain't the transgender community. Stop the hatred, folks. Anyhow, I do appreciate 31,000. I do got to do what I do around this time normally. I work for the man like the rest of you folks do. If you enjoy the program, feel free to follow the program if you're on TikTok or Clapper. Certainly if you're on YouTube, a subscription if you will. Not even 1%. No, it ain't even 0.01%. It ain't even... The fact that the chance of your child playing against a transgender in sports, or even going in the bathroom and a transgender is in there and they are assaulting your children, is your kid probably has a better chance of winning a decent jackpot in the lottery. The odds are probably, I mean, when you think about the sheer tiny ass number of transgender people that are in this country, now that rare person, you got to find somebody from that tiny group that is actually in the bathroom at the same time your child is. Now you got to find somebody from that even smaller group that is also wanting to abuse your kid when they're in the bathroom with them. Your kid probably has a better chance of winning a decent jackpot in the lottery than that actually happens. Very rare chance you're going to be in the bathroom with a transgender, and even more rare chance that the person you're in the bathroom with now they want to abuse you too. It's just, it ain't happening. It just ain't happening. That's what I'm talking about. So anyway, I do appreciate the likes. I do got to step away. Catch you guys tomorrow. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. Got to go. Thanks for tuning in. Real quick in the comments, Will G, you said, did you see the clip I sent you of a man pleading guilty of peeing in women's water bottles? No, I did not. I know somebody that got punished for busting a nut in one of them, though. I know a man that did not like his coworker, and he did jack off into a bottle. And they ended up charging him with a